TBPN on the horizon. You're surrounded by journalists. Hold your position.
Overnight success. The Blazonator 3000. Double blade. Right. That's misinformation.
Marking clearing order inbound.
That's just wrong.
We are surrounded by journalists. Hold your position.
Come, get up. Trust the experts. 5 coding. We are experts. Founder mode. 5 coding.
I see multiple journalists on the horizon. Stand by.
Experts.
UAV online.
Glaze. Double glaze. Triple glaze. Double kill. 5 coding. Wrong. Pump is up. Glaze.
Team deathmatch.
We are experts. Triple glaze. That's just wrong. Right.
Marking clearing order inbound.
Come, get up.
We are surrounded by journalists. Hold your position.
Strike 1. Strike 2. Activate Golden Retriever mode. Trust the experts.
Marking clearing order inbound.
5 coding.
I see multiple journalists on the horizon. Stand by.
Founder mode.
You're watching TBPN! Today is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. We're live from the TBPN Ultradome, the Temple of Technology, the Fortress of Finance.
The capital of capital.
Before we begin today's show, as many of you know, there's a major news story unfolding in Minnesota. That's very sad. And it's become a national news event. We're going to continue focusing the show on technology and business, as always. But if you're interested in comprehensive coverage of the Minnesota story, we recommend outlets like the Wall Street Journal, The Information. They've been covering it daily. There's been a lot of great reporting from both of them, both about what tech leaders are saying, what CEOs are saying, and what's happening on the ground with the admin. We're hoping for a peaceful resolution, thoughtful dialogue as the situation continues to evolve. But for now, let's get back to the show because we have a very important guest joining us at 2 p.m. today, the creator of Clawdbot, but now it's called Moltbot. It's been renamed. And
we're molting now.
Lots of things are evolving on this, and I'm still thinking about it, still thinking about the implications of this. Before we dig into what I wrote about this morning, let me tell you about ramp.com. Time is money. Save both. Easy to use corporate cards, bill pay, accounting, and a whole lot more all in one place. There's a lot of memes.
Asked, is Jordy calling in from the paddocks? And yes, I am. We're working on a new pair of headphones here, gear that we can send to guests. Some of the guests come in and they've got some pretty wild audio setups, and so we're trying to help them out with that. So these are in the works.
Yes.
They're a little bulky right now.
So these will be sent to
coming soon.
Regular guests of TBPN. They're USB-C wired
Yep.
and should have really clear audio quality, no delay, no
These ones are
latency.
actually built for the track.
Yes.
And so the noise canceling
I think our
component
guests
is
might
kind of
get
insane.
kind of crazy with it because our guests are going to be like, well, now I'm empowered. Now
Yeah.
you've given me the ability. Because we get some guests that come on the show, I'm sure you've seen it, where they'll be like, you know what, I'm going to stunt on the TBPN boys and I'm going to give you a factory tour. And sometimes it's flawless and sometimes it's a little rough, but this is only going to empower them to do crazier and crazier things.
So we're working on these. The goal was basically like Turtle Beach headphones for people that aren't playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They're playing Clawdbot or Moltbot,
Yes.
as we now call it. So
Well, let's take everyone through the linear lineup. Meet the system for modern software development. 70% of enterprise workspaces on Linear are using agents. And as I mentioned, we have we have Peter from Moltbot coming on. Palmer Luckey's also coming on at 1:30 to talk about AI drone racing. Bridget Mendler from Northwood Space is returning. Ben Lair from Lair Hippo Ventures. Lucas, Jamie, Aaron Frank from Lightspeed Venture Partners. We have a massive show that I'm sure we'll finish right on time. It's a 3-hour show, right? Anyway.
of course, we'll be going deep into the 4th hour today.
Probably.
So
But
stay
buckle
with
up.
us.
Thank you.
Chat is asking if we'll sell these. If we can make these good enough
Yes.
that they're actually incredible as just a daily driver
Yes.
for Zooms
Yes.
and whatever you guys are doing at the office, I would be happy to sell them.
Yes.
But we have to make them so good.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why we haven't sold merch to date is just that we're a podcast. We're not an apparel company.
Yeah, we're not
so
real
it's not
apparel
our core
company.
competency.
It is, and there are some hairy, sticky things that come up when you're managing e-commerce, like the back end, making sure everyone gets their returns and gets their deliveries. I've
Totally.
worked in e-commerce for years, and it's something that we wanted to be just like a nice to have, little extra for some friends of the show. But we're actively thinking about it, so we are aware. The Clawdbot memes are completely flooding the timeline.
Out of control.
My Clawdbot just signed up for a $2,799 build your personal brand mastermind after watching
Let's
3
go.
Alex Ramosi clips. So this text message, Clawdbot, hey, did anything weird happen while I was out? Define weird. I just got a charge notification for $2,997. Oh, that? I just signed us up for Build Your Personal Brand Mastermind. After analyzing 3 Alex Ramosi clips, the ROI math checks out. You'll 10x that investment in 90 days by monetizing your expertise at scale. What? I also acquired some premium domain.
BorgiaEmpire.io.
Oh, Borgia is the poster.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. Probably fake, but I mean the Clawdbot gets wild. I've seen some wild things like and Peter, as he'll talk to us about it. He's clearly no stranger to the fact that, hey, this is a developer level tool. This is something that you should not just be running crazy with. You need to be. He even says this in a post. He says, and yes, most non-techies should not install this. It's not finished. I know about the sharp edges. It's not even 3 months old. And despite rumors otherwise, I sometimes sleep. So very excited to talk to Peter. He's getting a lot of requests for small changes, pull requests. He's certainly inundated, but I think in general the project's going very well, and there's a lot of solid product market fit, right? There was also
and he's going to be joining tonight at something like 11 his time. It's kind of insane.
Legend.
This guy's working around the clock.
Absolute legend. So we really say thanks to him. There are some funny things here. So there's a funny conspiracy theory. Did Apple create Clawdbot to boost Mac Mini sales? And there's been a number of funny memes about like being the Mac Mini head of marketing or growth, and you're just like, yeah, my Q1 is off to a great start. Taking all the credit for it. And then Eleanor chimes in with another conspiracy theory. The more convincing plot is that in your role as an unconfirmed Anthropic exec, you went on a special op to get lots of people consuming tokens with open-ended agents, but with plausible deniability. And of course, there's some nuance there. We'll talk to him about the different models, what's beneficial. Obviously, Clawdbot, you can pick your own model. You can bring whatever you want. But he's, I think, a fan of GPT 5.2. He's talked about that, and so we'll dig into that with him when he joins. But what was sticking out in my mind was there's this big meme about you're buying Mac Minis. Mac Minis are out of stock. All the demands in the Mac Mini. But I think that the bigger implication here for what this actually means is just GPU demand, TPU demand, just raw chip demand. And so I was thinking about this idea that you're not buying a Mac Mini when you go all in on Clawdbot. You're actually buying a GB200. Now maybe you're buying TPUs, but the point remains that you're buying chips and you're driving GPU demand because you're generating more tokens. And what are the implications of that? So let me tell you about Labelbox. Where's Labelbox? RL environments.
You got it?
I have a
John's
dashboard. Here we
working
go.
on- there we go.
I got it.
There we go.
RL environments, voice, robotics, evals, and expert data, expert human data. Labelbox is the data factory behind the team's world's leading AI teams. So, Clawdbot officially renamed to Moltbot. Anthropic made a trademark-related request, and Peter Steinberger obliged with a hilariously perfect rename given such short notice. I was thinking about how much companies agonize over changing brands, changing names, how it can sometimes take years and millions of dollars. And he was just like, oh yeah, like I'll just change the name and update everything in an hour. Pretty remarkable.
Well, so one thing that's relevant is if you look on Peter's GitHub profile under the current projects section.
Oh yeah.
I'm just going to read you a number of them. There's Clawdbot, Vibe Tunnel, Codex Bar, Peekaboo, Summarize, Repo Bar, Go, CLI, Poltergeist, Wackley, SAG, Brabble.
And he's contributing to these
11
too?
Labs Kit, Go Places, Gift Prep, CamSnap, Spogo, Order, like it just goes on and on and on and on. Codex Bar. So this guy's just been absolutely shipping like crazy and shipping within the ecosystems of the underlying tools, models, APIs that he's doing. So like oftentimes he's naming projects like kind of riffing off of some of the underlying infrastructure.
Oh, sure.
And so it makes sense that he would have shipped if Peter knew this was going to be a viral overnight success.
Overnight success.
He would have not necessarily named it so closely. And so the issue and the reason that I fully understand them needing to do this like rebrand is that Claude and Clawdbot, like most people that aren't in our little bubble are just going to assume they're related, especially because the kind of word of mouth, this viral word of mouth growth that Clawdbot is getting. People are often not even typing it. They're just saying like, hey, are you using Clawdbot? And then so people are going to Anthropic being like, Clawdbot, what's Clawdbot? So obvious confusion. And then
it's phonetically identical.
So with trademark law, if you don't enforce your trademarks, you lose it.
Yeah, you kind of.
And so it's like Anthropic is in a position where they actually, even if they're like super excited about Peter's work and what he's doing, they still have to enforce. Otherwise, other companies could start coming in and like using things that sound like Claude.
No one wants to become the escalator. You know the story of the escalator, right?
I think you've talked about it on the show.
Used to be a company called the Escalator Company. They invented the escalator, and then they didn't protect their IP effectively, and it just became a normal thing. Kleenex was going through the same thing. They fought it out, and they maintained that brand, but people, use Kleenex as synonymous with just facial tissue. Anyway, MongoDB. Choose a database built for flexibility and scale with best-in-class embedding models and re-rankers. MongoDB has what you need to build what's next. So one clear note about the rebrand. So he changed the handle, and some crypto scammers hopped on the old handle and the old brand and are claiming to launch a coin. Be careful. Peter has said he's never launching a coin. He's not into crypto, so don't fall for anything because people are being opportunistic. Anyway.
Hopefully, we should try to see if X can help out with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they might have already handled it, but just be careful out there. So while Claude Code and Cowork felt specifically prosumer, developer, enterprise-focused, Clawdbot, or Moltbot now, all the hype train, it felt very much like a glimpse into the future of consumer AI agents. I know it's a prosumer technical tool or lightly technical tool, but it really did feel like for the first time people were interacting with an AI personal agent. People are saying, oh, this is what Siri should be, et cetera, et cetera. And so we spent the last year, remember the question that we asked all the AI agent companies, when can it book me a flight? Like it feels like we're really, really close to a Moltbot skill that is good at booking flights through a couple APIs. They figure out some stuff, and like it can actually solve that for you. I don't know if anyone's actually booked a flight with Moltbot, but it feels like if it's not there already, it'll be there in a matter of weeks. We're not years out anymore.
Yeah, and this was last year.
Yeah.
Remember we were kind of getting sick of the like book you a flight pitch.
Totally.
Because we were like, hey, is this
gonna happen?
Can somebody actually do this?
Exactly.
And so that's a cool example.
Yeah.
But the example of being able to text with a computer and have them like generate reports, research files, et cetera, give you the right file type back, all these things that a computer can do if you're operating it. This is actually more interesting because it's happening at kind of like the sort of internet layer and the OS layer, like the heart, like actually on the computer. And so I think like everyone was wanting the like book me a flight example, but should be much more excited about this.
Totally. And so I still have a whole bunch of questions, and we'll dig in through these throughout the show, and obviously with our interview with Peter. Will one of the major labs make Peter a massive offer to join full time? I saw one of my buddies was posting. This is the $1 billion one-person company. Now, Peter does have a team, actually, already. He has a couple of other people that have joined and are contributing. So it's not quite true, but it feels like, okay, massive viral success. If you were to go and raise money, and that's another question, will Moltbot raise money? Will this become sort of a hybrid for open source for-profit company at some point? This could be, if he came on the show and was like, I'm happy to announce that I raised $100 million at $1 billion, we would not be like, no way, this is a bubble. We'd be like, yeah, that's kind of like what the market is for this.
Yeah, I think there was like, Harry Stebbings was pointing out there was 2 companies called Recursive that raised like $4 billion.
There's 2?
One with the RE.
One is Recursive.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how it's said, and then there's Recursive.
Recursive, okay.
Anyway, so
that implies the existence of a Rocursive and a Rucursive and a Ra-cursive.
Yeah, we still got way more.
We got 3 more vowels to plug in there.
Yeah, so really? one day ago, Richard Socher's new AI lab, Recursive, eyes $4 billion pre-money valuation, and then AI chip startup Recursive at $4 billion.
Yeah.
So 2 months after.
Ryan in the chat saying Meta is going to offer him a $1 billion salary in a co-CTO position, and like that doesn't sound crazy.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like you can imagine, like Manus.
Yeah.
Like this feels like Zuck already has.
He does
his horse in the race.
And to back to your point, you were making the point that Manus felt like Zuck buying a product. And I think a lot of people were giving you pushback on that, being like, nah, like it's not really going to be like that. But if you take the Manus team and you say, okay, go build something that you can interact with over WhatsApp, Instagram, DMs, Facebook, that can go and execute things across all of the different platforms and everything else.
Yeah, and when I said that, I meant it along the lines of like I could see like them putting a consumer agent in Meta AI, just because that's their little AI playground.
Yes,
right? They're just kind of putting stuff in there, saying like, try it out. It's kind of a sandbox.
Yes. Yes. Really quickly, Fin.ai, the #1 AI agent for customer service. If you want AI to handle your customer support, go to Fin.ai. Yes. So that is all part of my thesis here, which is that this is going to drive up token demand. So there are more questions. Will they raise money? Obviously, people are chatting about that. How fragmented will the market be in 12 months? Like, will there be people who are still running open source? Will there be a Meta answer, a ChatGPT answer, a Claude, an official Anthropic answer? Claude Cowork grows into this, and everyone has their little bets, and then there's one that pulls away. Yeah. How oligopolistic will it be? Will there be like one that has 80% market share, or even two that have 40 and 40?
Well, yeah, and you have to think about how, you have a bunch of different models you can use in Moltbot.
Yeah.
And think about how uncomfortable that makes the other labs that are all trying to build products like this.
Totally.
And they're like, well, I mean, it's cool that you can use Codex in Moltbot.
Yeah.
It's cool that you can use Opus 4.5 in Moltbot, but
it's cool
I'm
that you can
deeply
use
uncomfortable.
Gemini 3 Pro, Google's most intelligent model yet. State-of-the-art reasoning, next-level vibe coding, and deep multimodal understanding.
You did get me. You did get me. That's not where I was going. But the point still stands.
Yes.
It's they can simultaneously be like excited about the product experience and that this kind of like use case is getting adoption, but at the same time being like, no, we want that experience to be core to our product, our app layer.
I will say, like, you've seen this now with the new like frontier models, where a lot of the models there actually is like there's GPT 5.2 and then there's 5.2 Codex, where there's slight difference in training, or even if it's just like very quick like post train to get the like different like harnesses working like easier. So like that's why you see a lot of people were like they really love Claude Code with Opus 4.5, but then when they're actually doing like chatting, maybe they're using a different model because the models are actually like fine-tuned for the specific harness.
And Sam Altman just said that yesterday, that he thinks 5.2 was a little bit overly trained on math and coding, and that it lost some of its textual flavor, its stylistic flourish in just talking, in just writing. What are you getting ready to do? Do you have Happy Birthday queued up there? Oh, we got to sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. In the middle of this song, we'll tell you about Figma. Figma Make isn't your average vibe coding tool. It lives in Figma, so outputs look good, feel real, and stay connected to how teams build. Create code-back prototypes.
Okay, it wouldn't be TBPN if we didn't do an
ad read during your happy birthday song.
Tyler.
Happy birthday to Tyler.
It is Tyler's birthday.
It is Tyler's birthday.
And it's not just any birthday. It's Tyler's 21st birthday.
Yes.
Which is very, very special.
Yes.
And so, you are truly an incredible young man, Tyler, and we are very lucky to have you on the team.
Thank you.
And you have such a bright future. So wise for your years.
For sure.
And we thought it was fitting that if you want to have your first ever sip of alcohol ever, you could do it on the show, but keep it at a sip. All
right. I can try it now. This is the Happy Dad.
Okay. First taste of alcohol.
Ian in the chat says 4 more years till you can rent a car. Mocked.
Tyler, apparently you share a birthday with the iPad. Give us your review.
How is it? Alcohol.
Wow. I mean, this is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect alcohol to like taste like this. This is incredible.
You had one idea in your mind, and this is just completely different than what you expected.
I would agree with that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, it's kind of a cool moment. You're finally qualified to go on Cheeky Pint.
Oh, true. Yeah. What were they going to do with that?
Sometimes they're
Conroy in the chat says, "Please throw him a buzzball."
We should have
missed opportunity.
The buzzball story is absolutely incredible. I'm so glad you jump scared me with that. I had no idea that was coming.
Yeah, I texted Rob and Senra to do. To try
they really
to track
should.
down
They really
the founder
should.
of
Buzzball is great.
Anyway, so keep it at a sip. This is a family friendly.
We need you locked
that's
in.
Enough. But I'm glad that you've tried alcohol now
because we're going to go
experience
all over the
being.
Wait, guys, we have a video for Tyler.
Oh yeah,
let's pull it up.
Let's play. We got greatest hits. Do you know ball?
All right, how many times are we going to make this joke?
Describe what you're seeing.
It feels basically like I'm wearing sunglasses.
If you can do it in under 45 minutes, you will get to keep this.
Let's go. All right, have fun, Tyler.
15 minutes left. Let's see it.
Okay. I'm in like some kind of maze right now.
Oh no! You were late here last night.
This is such a good shot. Kind of an all-nighter.
Yeah. And then here we get a little off the rails. You see George Soros and Fauci connected with the Illuminati as well.
All it took was one intern and an all-nighter. The GigaChad elf is so funny. Do the sad face. What's wrong, Tyler? Cheer up.
This, you could say, is Apple Intelligence.
Yes.
You were a speed cube.
Wow. Whoa, he's good. Nerd alert.
Tyler, do you have any news for us?
Yeah, contract extended.
It has been truly incredible having you here on our set and contributing to the show in such a special way. Amazing. Happy birthday, dude.
Happy birthday.
We love you.
Thank you.
What an amazing.
Proud to, every day I'm proud to podcast with you.
And, amazing. Anyway, I got you something for your birthday. I got you Turbo Puffer, serverless vector and full text search, built from first principles on object storage, fast, 10x cheaper, and extremely scalable. And
what a gift.
I mean, we're joking about the ad reads, but seriously, if Tyler does love token credits, he has a voracious consumption. That is a good gift.
Any labs out there?
Any labs out there?
Tyler's accepting tokens.
He's accepting birthday presents today. Let it be known. Send it your way. The credits must flow.
Somebody's going to send Tyler like $20 million of credits, and he's like, "Whoa, did I just get bribed?" I was happy with like $1,000.
Tyler's over there.
I'm only ever going to talk about one specific lab after this.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, with the potential. With the stuff you're working on, mapping the Neo labs, anything could happen. It's high stakes over there. Anyway, back to Moltbot, and the biggest question for me was what this does to inference demand. Right? Last year, tech discourse was split between two narratives. CEOs of tech companies and big labs were saying that they were massively compute constrained. Token generation, demand for intelligence, every possible usage metric was growing exponentially, including revenue. We saw all this. And the industry needed to marshal trillions of dollars to deliver on the supply side. And the numbers were really big, so people were getting jittery about it. And so the AI bears were much more cautious. They highlighted the MIT study showing that enterprise AI pilots were failing, DAU growth was decelerating. There weren't enough wow moments like the original ChatGPT launch in 2022. Those were some good points. Also just the economics, how much will people pay? How valuable is all this stuff? Is it slop, right? Is it progressing fast enough? This was a big debate. But Moltbot really does make me feel like the token generation demands are going to see another easy X from here. Like buying a Mac Mini is a sideshow. When you go all in on running a personal AI assistant, you're effectively buying a GB200. Now, obviously not everyone is inferencing a dedicated GB200 constantly anytime soon. That's not what's happening. But it still answers the question of where does the next 10x in demand come from? Like where's the adoption? If it's rolling out in the enterprise and that's gonna be a little slow, Tyler Cowen talks about healthcare, nonprofits, a whole bunch of industries that are sort of AI resistant, anything that's blue collar, manual labor, anything that's physically embodied in any way. Like you can't just roll out a really fast, AI-enabled startup and ramp. Yeah, you might be able to ramp to 100 million. That's not going to move the needle at this point on total token generation, total token demand. So. We've seen these jumps before. There was a big jump from token generation from LLMs to reasoning models. That spiked inference demand. We've been focused on training demand. We need to scale up the training clusters. But the question now is inference demand.
Don't forget slop. Don't forget slop. Slop spike demand.
Yeah. Are you talking about like Ghibli? The Ghibli moment?
All of it. All of it. Yeah. I mean, all of it. Open Instagram Reels.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff on there. Deep research and coding agents took it a step further on inference demand. But those were still specific use cases that many AI consumers never regularly touched. The GPT-5 launch which made reasoning models more accessible because the router would just automatically throw you in a reasoning model. I think the stat was like less than 5% of ChatGPT users had ever used a reasoning model. The O3 was available on the free tier. You could get like 1 or 2 queries in, or maybe 10, but people just hadn't flipped over to try it. And so once it went into the router, I think demand or usage of thinking models increased 10x. And so lowering the barrier to entry to used more advanced models is in some ways as important, if not more important, than advancing the models themselves, at least in terms of shifting token demand. Like, you can have this amazing IMO Go little like genius model, but if it's hard to use or it's locked behind a paywall, like demand is just not.
Yeah, part of what's interesting, what you're basically getting at is like, if you were a software engineer, you were using a ton of tokens.
Yes.
And if you weren't, you were just maybe doing some deep research, et cetera.
A lot of times just Google AI overviews or just like a very simple, ChatGPT query. It just thinks of it right off the head. It's not even doing reasoning. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, Dario talks about this too in his essay, but I think the idea of like discrete jumps in either use cases or like capabilities is like probably like overplayed a little bit, where if you really like zoom out, even like on a fairly small time frame, it's just like very smooth exponential curve.
Yeah.
The models are getting better, people are using them more.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, this one day
I
people
don't
just
know.
start. I mean, maybe that's true on like if you look at the daily. But.
So I feel like another way to rephrase this is like Leopold's unhobblings, like Clawdbot, Moltbot. That feels like an unhobbling in some ways, but maybe more on like the consumer adoption side.
The chat is saying we should have given Tyler.
We gotta give
21
Tyler
gong salute. 21 hits. 21 hits.
Someone's going to count that and know that I got it off by one. But anyway.
It was enough.
Restream. One live stream, 30-plus destinations. If you want to multi-stream, go to restream.com. Okay. So I don't know. My general take is like Moltbot still feels like a glimpse into the future, where average token generation per capita is 10x's, over the course of this year or next, and whether it lands with Moltbot or with one of the AI labs or with the big tech companies, it just feels like we're going to see a lot more token demand.
Yeah. Ash Aurora says whoever builds a direct-to-consumer front-end wrapper of Clawdbot is going to print money.
Doesn't this exist? I saw the Poke people by Interaction.
Well, they're not using.
No.
Moltbot.
Oh, yeah. Sure. So they're not using it, but they have positioned themselves as like, hey, we're the company that is doing a lot of the same things, going after the same market, solving some of the same problems, and so will be interesting to see, how much they accelerate on the back of this. That's certainly interesting. I also saw, I don't know if we have it in here, but the good folks over at Cognition, Walden Yan, said, don't waste your time setting up Moltbot. I had Devin set it up for me. I didn't even run a single command, and now I'm talking to it on Telegram. You can go to tryclawdbot.com. They're going to have to rename the website, but this is very, very cool for the less technical folks who don't want to mess around with it.
I'll start reading the next post. Feel free to hit it one more time.
One more
Chat says
it was 20?
20.
Oh, no.
With authority. QW says, Clawdbot made me realize that nothing about me lives on my local device and that Google owns everything about me. In other words, a local AI assistant isn't particularly useful and Google will just win everything. So, hot take there. He says, all your browsing history, shopping history in Gmail, search history, calendar, Gemini, YouTube, Google Home, where you've been, Google Map, your workspace, it's over. Yeah. Bow down to your digital god.
The iPhone users would like a moment. Like, yes, this is extremely true, but there's a lot of people that interface with Google through their iPhone, and so there is.
Well, yeah. So my hope is that the Siri team plays around with Clawdbot and is like, wait, this is our opportunity.
Yeah, totally.
Like, you should be able to chat with your computer wherever it is in the world from your phone and be able to do tasks.
Yep.
In a way that's sort of native, AI native.
Yeah, totally. Public, investing for those who take it seriously. Stocks, options, bonds, crypto, treasuries, and more with amazing customer
Public,
service.
we have to share, is a new sponsor of All In.
Yeah.
All In is doing ads now. Finally, this is something that we've been begging them to do
TBPN.
Since the very beginning.
We really have been begging for this, but very, very good. And I'm sure those will do quite well. They've been doing a bunch of good stuff. The Davos coverage was really, really fun. Obviously, the Satya Nadella interview was great, but there were a bunch of other folks who hopped on at Davos to talk tech, and it was a delightful experience.
Vignesh, who is working on
Join the team.
Moltbot,
Yes.
says a thread about what I've been doing to calm down some egregious security claims that have been posted about Moltbot over the weekend. Moltbot is powerful software with a lot of sharp edges. Please read the security docs carefully before you run it anywhere near the public internet, and don't skip the checks in docs/security.md.
What percentage of people do you think skip those checks? It's literally everyone.
I mean, so I have it set up on our like local machine here,
Yeah.
and then it was texting. I think it texted you and Ben.
Yeah, that was actually crazy.
I didn't
So
have the auth set up, so I think it would-
I don't think any of this will dox what's going on, or really. Did you disconnect it already? Or something?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe.
Because I get an iMessage that's from Tyler's email, and it just says HTTP 429 rate limit error. This request would exceed the rate limit for your organization, and it's just texting me. It's just like, hey boss, I need more money. I guess it's hitting me up. It's this. It's the experience of working here, where Tyler's constantly asking for more tokens.
Can we go back and just appreciate just like the frenzy that both the labs and every VC is in right now to give Peter money? Because it's not just the labs.
But it's not just them. It's
just the
what
lab.
the lab's doing, and then what is big tech going to do? It's such a dramatic line.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
So I would imagine that the Gulf Streams are getting fired up.
Yep.
And there are people already on the ground.
I don't know if we should dox his location.
We're not gonna
but
dox him.
In his bio, he does say he's in Europe. So, VC,
Europe,
you got to get
Europe.
out there.
We got to give some credit to Europe generally.
True.
Synthesia.
Talk about a comeback here.
Synthesia is cooking.
This is amazing. I love it.
Moltbot now, but yeah, there's so many people that are currently sending him messages, maybe showing up where he is, begging him to say, please take somewhere between $250 million and $1 billion, and we'd love to do business with you.
I love it.
Peter.
Lambda is the super intelligence cloud, building supercomputers for training and inference that scale from one GPU to hundreds of thousands.
Cloudflare has been on a bit of a tear. People finally starting to realize that Cloudflare might be the biggest winner of the Claude Cowork, Clawdbot, ChatGPT moment.
Interesting.
Tyler, you want to break this down?
Wait, sorry, I was.
Oh, were you? Oh, you tried alcohol. Now you can't pay attention. So
No.
the last.
So Cloudflare is a CDN, but they also have like web workers that are distributed, so you can host things on the edge.
Yeah, so this is why everyone was like, why is everyone buying Mac Minis, right? You can just like host these for very cheap on AWS or whatever.
But I do think I don't. It's probably possible, but I do think it's pretty hard to host a virtual private server that runs iMessage.
Yeah, that's true. But even then, I mean, most people I see using Clawdbot are doing like
Slack,
Telegram,
or
Slack, or
and all of those have like APIs that they can integrate with.
And there's some stuff where it's like, okay, you want access to like the local machine,
Yes.
and you want it to be Mac because you're on your phone and you usually use Mac. So.
But there are a lot of people that would say, I want Clawdbot to look through, or Moltbot to look through my iMessages and see if I missed anything, or okay, I'm planning this is the AI personal assistant, right? It's like I'm planning a family birthday party. Go and someone in the chat said they're not available on the mid-February. What does that mean? What dates are that? Put that on a calendar. Visualize that. Like solve this problem for me. That's what a personal assistant does. It's not just clicking a button and creating a calendar invite. It's like coordinating different pieces of information that are all messy and not quantized to the perfect, date timestamp, right? So I think that the Mac Mini thing, just host it in the cloud, but you're not going to get your full experience if you're locked into the Apple ecosystem, which a lot of people are. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if people in like 5 years, if like non-super technical people are running it on local machines.
Oh no, I completely agree with that.
So,
because this will be solved by big tech. Like they have to answer, even in the way that like to go back to the Napster moment. Like yes, you did get Spotify, but then you also got Apple Music, and a lot of people just use Apple Music because it's just baked in, right? And the iTunes Music Store also came out.
Yeah, I do wonder how it bakes down, right? Because you don't have. I think over the past couple months, I don't know when exactly it was, but you can't interact with ChatGPT on WhatsApp anymore. They blocked it.
Oh, yeah.
So there's stuff like this where I think it's going to be quite hard to get the full functionality of like Clawdbot. It's open source. It's kind of this like janky thing. It was started by one guy.
Yeah, no.
And even then, it has like way more, tools that you can use than big
It's
tech.
weird because like the Napster analogy obviously really suffers from the fact that piracy is illegal and nothing here is illegal. And you're not. I don't even think you're breaking TOS to interact with your different big tech app services. But maybe they'll be like, you don't let the fox in the hen house. That's in our terms and conditions. But it does feel like we could be in this era of the lightly technical hacker having a pretty fundamentally different experience for years. And that's what happened. I mean, post BitTorrent, there were people that were downloading whole movie libraries, and then you could actually, again, to go back to the Mac Mini, people would buy, what was it called? It was like a mini PC that would run Xbox Media Center. Are you familiar with this at all? Xbox Media Center was like a piece of software that you could basically just put a whole bunch of MP4s in, and it would actually pull in titles and posters. So it would look like an Apple TV, but it was all basically stolen content. It was very, very crazy.
Kieran in the X chat says, I'm running on VPS currently, waiting for my Mac Mini.
Okay.
No TOS issue, all personal.
Yeah, it's all personal
channels.
But the migration off of the Mac Mini into one of the big tech products, or even OpenAI or Anthropic.
The only thing I
they're
really,
going to have sharp elbows with each other. That's just a fact.
I disagree. I disagree on the timeline here.
Okay.
I just think the space is moving so quickly.
Yep.
And there's so much money on the line that someone, maybe it's Peter, or a lab, will be able to move quickly enough to get a consumer version of this live, like not in years, but like within probably weeks.
There are also like feedback loops here where there can be public demands from consumers. Like you got 40,000 GitHub stars, probably more now. You got lots of people running this, excited about it, and they form a constituency. And then you wind up with a push for standards. We see that with MCP, but what are you really revealing over those APIs? An API can exist, but it can have rate limits.
Pull up this chart from Ronan.
While you do that, let me tell you about CrowdStrike. Your business is AI, their business is securing it. CrowdStrike secures AI and stops breaches. So
Ronan says this is preposterous.
I just like
so this is look at the orange line.
Okay.
Is Moltbot.
Okay.
And the blue line is Supabase.
Wow.
So absolutely insane.
We need new charts.
this is
really need new charts.
Frame it.
Yes.
Put it in the Museum of Business.
Yes.
That's a fast takeoff.
People are happy. Peter posted no message. This is a screenshot of a text he got. No message. Just thought I'd say thank you. Thank you so much for Clawdbot. I work with some disabled people, and you don't know how much difference you make to their lives. Thank you again. This is so sweet. And you can think about we've talked to the Neuralink folks, and the Neuralink it's just an interface to a computer, but that unlocking that is like incredible. And you hear the stories about like, I spent 6 hours gaming as soon as I got it installed. Yeah. And they could use voice interfaces, but even just clicking, like you wind up with just more and more capabilities from the computer being like a really pretty fundamental transformation.
Well, yeah, for somebody, let's say somebody that was paralyzed, but they can talk, but they can't move around or operate a computer. They're used to describing. Yeah. To I imagine other people are using transcription to do like use a computer in a not so great way, and so now to have the same experience of just describing what they want to do and being able to like actually interact with the machine is like very cool.
Tuxedo Sam is shorting every city where Micro Center hasn't sold out of $400 Mac Minis. They are in stock in Chicago, Indianapolis. Oh no, Indianapolis is out of stock. Like you can read anything into this. Like it's obviously somewhat random, and this was completely random.
I guess the thing that I really want to understand is like what percentage of the GitHub people that have starred it are actually buying a Mac Mini.
Oh, totally.
Because this chart is it's going to be at 60K
any
any day now, or any kind of probably today, I would imagine. And we know from yesterday that Apple's only selling like 250,000 or to like something like 7.
And then there are a lot of people who didn't star it because you don't even need to go to github.com to install this software, Moltbot. Like you just go to the website, copy the curl command, put it in your terminal, and you never land on GitHub. So there's a lot of people that are probably just doing that and being like, I don't know if I'm going to sign up for GitHub or like even have a GitHub account or want to log into it or want to go and do this. So we could be looking at like a much wider install base beyond just who's started. Anyway, Plaid powers the apps you use to spend, save, borrow, and invest, securely connecting bank accounts to move money, fight fraud, and now improve lending. Now with AI.
Well said, John. Rise, speaking of money, has an interesting prompt he's using with Moltbot to file your taxes. He says, you are a Bernie Madoff level financial expert. Find every trick that is possible.
Do not do this. Do not do this.
The IRS is like, hey, can you share a little bit on like how you kind of came up with some of the decisions here? And they're like, we'd love to see the prompt. It's like, good fun.
Anyway, people are not emotionally prepared for if it's not a bubble, the enduring ruin tweet. I like that Critter screenshotted this while pushing the like button, so it's like exploding. It's very funny.
I didn't even notice.
Silver surges above $106 an ounce for the first time in history, now up another 48%. The other interesting story that's sort of developing over on Stratechery is Ben Thompson is starting to make the case that TSMC will be a really fundamental bottleneck in just the AI build-out, the AI race. He's comping their CapEx to what the hyperscalers are projecting and just saying that there's a massive mismatch. And the TSMC folks are maybe not putting their foot on the gas, maybe not willing to let the buck stop with them and take on that risk of building a new fab for $50 billion. And then if the AI bubble pops, then they're left holding the bag. And so it's been really fascinating listening to his writing on the back of the latest TSMC earnings and watch him sort of unpack what's going on with TSMC. The sort of conclusion that I took away from it was that Intel, while it has a lot of problems and the stock just sold off a ton and they have a lot of losses, he's sort of saying that Intel needs a customer, Samsung needs serious customers, and in order to really unblock the semiconductor supply chain, the other fabs are going to need the big hyperscalers and big labs to just take a big leap of faith and say, you know what, we are going to go all in with you. We're going to sign up and plan and work out all the kinks of the Samsung fab process or the Intel fab process. And in exchange, what's going to happen is as soon as OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or even NVIDIA say, hey, Intel's good enough for us, well, then guess what's going to happen? TSMC is going to have to go and say, yeah, we're going to build the extra fab and we're going to build the extra capacity. And when we talked to Sam Altman, and in a number of interviews that he did that week, he was very clear about, I would love TSMC to make more. He wasn't exactly like firing shots, but he was definitely saying that like he was identifying it as a bottleneck. And it's interesting because at the start of the year, I was highlighting energy as an interesting bottleneck. And we were going back and forth on, where is it easier to move chips around the board? Energy, where you can reroute from the grid, from oil and gas, from nuclear, you can bring different capacity online. There certainly are bottlenecks there, but if you can't produce the chips and the fabs just don't exist and it takes 3 or 4 years to build a fab, you could be looking at a really big bottleneck. Tyler, what do you think?
I mean, it just seems like in power or energy, like the bottleneck is regulatory, and like in some ways that's like way harder. But if there's actual like political will, if electricity is getting super expensive, then like you should see that kind of those regulations like be taken away a little bit, and then it actually becomes much easier than actually just like expanding TSMC production by like whatever massive amount.
Yeah, I have one more point on that. First, I'm going to tell you about Cognition. They're the makers of Devin, the AI software engineer. Crush your backlog with your personal AI engineering team. So the question of like which is more of a bottleneck, energy or TSMC in the chip supply chain is interesting because energy feels like this incredible bottleneck. It's a very political, like hot button issue now. energy prices are rising, data centers need a lot of energy. But if you look at the amount of chip fabrication that's going to AI, and then the amount of energy production that's going to AI, obviously the number of chip production going to AI is a way higher percentage.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the chips and a lot of the line time at TSMC, yes, they do all sorts of different chips, and CPUs still get made, and there's a bunch of ASICs for different networking equipment. There's all sorts of different chips that get made. I mean, the toaster that has a chip, the Bluetooth on different process nodes. But even if you include all of that, I would assume that the total amount of fabrication line time is heavily allocated to GPUs, TPUs, AI chips right now, whereas the amount of energy that AI is using is probably less than 1% of total capacity.
Yeah, it's interesting that
CC
Wei, the CEO of TSMC, he doesn't have to go on the podcast tour raising money all the time. They're not like pushing this like insane kind of fast takeoff narrative.
No,
it's like
not at all.
very much like kind of, hey, we're just trying to run our business the way that we always have. Be pragmatic about this. Fulfill as much demand as we possibly can. But they seem to not be inclined to take on the level, certainly not the level of risk that, imagine if you had Larry Ellison running TSMC.
Get him in the ring. I want him in there so badly. Yeah. No, you're 100% right. But at the same time, we're seeing the hyperscalers throw their weight around in like crazy ways. We covered AWS is like buying copper mines and stuff, or I don't know if it's copper mine, but like getting into mining. There's a whole bunch of vertical integration that's going on. Tesla all the way down to battery refinement and lithium ion production. Meta today announced a $6 billion multi-year partnership with Corning that will supply fiber optic cables for our data center infrastructure, bolstering manufacturing in America and keeping the country competitive in the global AI race. We can read through a little bit of this, but first, I'm going to tell you about the New York Stock Exchange. Want to change the world? Raise capital at the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, Corning up 15% on the news today.
Yeah.
So makes sense.
What is their market cap? Let's see, $94 billion company, and I'd love to know their revenue as well. Let's see, their revenue was, I don't know if I can find it. Annual revenue, $12 billion. So this is, pretty material. Let's see. Meta Platforms is set to test new subscription models across its apps. No, that's a different story.
Different story, but we can run through it.
I am interested to know a little bit more. So it's a $6 billion multi-year agreement. It supports a 15 to 20% increase in jobs at Corning's North Carolina facilities. Building and operating data centers, the infrastructure that brings our technologies to life and supports our goal of personalized super intelligence. That certainly sounds like an AI personal assistant. Certainly sounds like Moltbot to me. Requires strong servers and hardware that connect and transfer information in near real time. Fiber optic cables are a critical part of this technology. This supply, helping us power everything from wearable technology like Ray-Ban Meta AI glasses to our apps, which connect billions of people. Today, they're doing a $6 billion project. As part of this agreement, Corning will grow its manufacturing capacity across its operations, includes a significant capacity expansion in North Carolina. Meta's data centers, 26 of which are under construction right now, are operational. Why are you laughing?
It's just so many.
That's a lot of data centers. That's why they have a compute desk. If you have, this is a bit of advice for everyone. If you're working in a business and you have like a team or a guy that does something, you need to upgrade that to a desk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You need a production desk.
Millionaires have guys. Billionaires have desks.
Probably, yeah. Well, trillion-dollar companies have desks. That's what it is. Meta's data centers have already supported 30,000 skilled trade jobs during construction and support 5,000 operational jobs. This includes electricians, HVAC specialists, server and network technicians, safety and security experts, and engineers who work together to run some of the world's most advanced facilities. Let's give it up.
Moving on. Meta.
11 Labs, build intelligent real-time conversational agents, reimagine technology interaction with 11 Labs. Yes.
Meta to test premium subscription plans for Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. This is in CNBC. Subscriptions for premium features on Meta apps are expected to roll out in the coming months.
What will you
The
get?
subscriptions will give paid users access to more features and expanded AI capabilities. Here's what's most interesting to me. This will be scaling Meta's newly acquired suite of general AI agents under Manus will also be part of the subscription plan. So as I was saying earlier, when you think about when we haven't gotten that much from Zuck on like what the actual plan is, but when you think about personal super intelligence, that is, AI that can do things for you, not just give you information.
I just wonder how much will happen outside of the Meta ecosystem. Like they've launched a search engine before that looked at websites outside of Facebook. They had that Project Titan, which was to unify all the different messaging protocols. So as part of that, they gave everyone a facebook.com email address or something like that. Maybe it wasn't facebook.com. Maybe it was like fb.me or something. But they gave every Facebook user, whatever their unique username was, they gave them that as an email. And you could email that, and it would show up in Facebook Messenger. And then they tried to unify Facebook Messenger so you could see Instagram DMs, WhatsApp messages, and Facebook messages all in one place. I can see what you're laughing at.
Dave Graham Powell says, I want more of those amazing Meta AI features.
You say that now. I mean, let them cook at least a little bit, because we really haven't seen them launch a new model, a new image model. Like, they should be able to get too close to the frontier. It has to be at least Sora, Nano Banana, VO3 level. They have all the data. They have all the talent now. They're very GPU rich. They have the compute for it. So, and the research has been done, and people have reverse engineered it. So you would think that whatever's coming should be good. And I don't know. I was looking at isn't CapCut owned by TikTok, or aren't they affiliated, right? Because Meta has the Edits app, which I've been making some videos in, and it's pretty good. It does some interesting background review.
CapCut is ByteDance.
It's ByteDance. And so
I doubt this is getting
you think it's a separate? Okay. Because CapCut has multiple levels of subscription tier, and you can very easily wind up spending $200 a month on like the AI Pro features that will do generative video, style transfer, and when you see those videos, like the good AI videos on Instagram Reels that are usually like they'll take a cinematic clip from a movie and then they will do a face replacement or like a head swap, and then they'll do AI voices and then dub the lips so that the lips match what the audio's saying, and it looks really convincing with that workflow. How do you bring that to someone on a phone? How do you bring that to someone in the Instagram app or in the Edits app, even if they're going to more of like their prosumer offering? The mobile video editing space is particularly interesting to me, just watching how Edits has evolved. And I used to use iMovie on my phone a little bit. I used to use, there was an app called Clips that Apple developed, and there were a few others that I'd tried, but the Edits app is...
You're incredibly good at making videos on your phone.
I love it. I love video editing, but I don't have enough time anymore to sit down and open up After Effects and Premiere with multiple monitors and have, connected After Effects file that feeds into the Premiere profile, and like really doing a proper edit with all the powerful tools that are out there on the desktop. Like, it's just not in the cards for me. And so I have to be able to do something quick on my phone. And I think that that's a very modern experience that most creators, they're just phone first, phone native, and so they're never really going to go back to the multi-monitor workstation. Maybe, but in general, they're editing really quickly, and they're editing pretty incredible stuff when you look at some of the reels that are out there with like layered crops and removing the background, and like the AI tools are coming in, and I could see Meta offering a premium subscription around that. Anyway, Console builds AI agents that automate 70% of IT, HR, and finance support, giving employees instant resolution for access requests and password resets. So
Dave in the X chat says InShot is pretty good for mobile.
I need to try that. I haven't tried InShot. I've been seeing more and more ads. I'll see a video for like an F1 edit that are incredible. These F1 edits are so cool, where they will show you one clip and then they cut the character out and edit in the other clip and then it transitions. Like the transitions are amazing. And I've been seeing some people have clearly built apps to do that specific type of edits. Like the really crazy editors are using probably After Effects or something. Ryan asks, is Tyler still drunk?
Yeah, one sip, he's just over there slurring his words.
Anyway. That really broke me. Anyway, app loving. Profitable advertising made easy with Axon.ai. Get access to over 1 billion daily active users and grow your business today. We had a great comment in one of the podcast feeds. Someone said, "Give us an Axon klaxon." Because a klaxon is a loud clash. We were all puzzling over what that means. When we smashed the gong,
immediately.
It's an Axon klaxon.
Yeah.
I love an Axon klaxon.
Niraj Agrawal says, TikTok is dead. The algorithm is worse than the reels that make it to Facebook.
Wow. I haven't.
Yeah,
checked it
so
out.
Basically they're transitioning everything over.
Yeah.
Yesterday there was apparently
an outage.
Kind of an outage. Like people were able to post videos, but the videos wouldn't be served at all. So I think a lot of people assume that it was like the new ownership kind of censoring.
Sure.
I believe they had an outage at a data center that was a cause of that. So before we call it dead, let's wait for a few days and see how it pans out. We do have a TikTok account. It's at TBPN.
How many followers does it have?
I haven't checked. I don't
think we post on it ever.
3,500.
Not bad. That's better than what I thought.
First time.
We're not really focused on it. Maybe we'll test it out, but I'm pretty happy with just. I want the things we do to be polished. I want the core show to be polished. Diet TBPN, our 20 to 30 minute cut down. I want that to be polished. I want the newsletter to be polished at tbpn.com. Every day newsletter. I like that. Before we bite off another part of the apple,
please, sir, not one more short form.
Not one more short form. It is a lot. Anyway, Phantom Cash. Fund your wallet without exchanges or middlemen and spend with the Phantom card. Let's move over to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is coming up. I think it's going to be this year in the next couple months. When is it? It's coming up. It's coming up because there's advertisements that are going out, and you got to watch it because the ads are going to be incredible.
I actually just had to search, when is Super Bowl?
Is it this Sunday?
No, it's February 8th.
Okay, so next Sunday? Okay, it's going to be amazing, but mostly because of the advertisements. Specifically, Eric Lyman, CEO of Ramp, shared, meet Brian. Brian's been carrying accounting on his back for a long time. Super Bowl Sunday, he finally gets back up. Let's watch this preview
Pull it up.
Of the Ramp
Alex
Super Bowl
says sports
ad.
guys. Yeah, we're real sports guys.
This is the
so
Super
much so
Bowl.
that we gotta Google.
The Ramp Super Bowl ad is the Super Bowl of Super Bowl ads.
It feels like they just kind of.
It is.
This is like. What is it? What is it called? Like a warning, spoiler alert. Okay,
like,
For anybody that wants to wait and
experience it
ad,
live,
you're gonna want to skip ahead like 60 seconds.
Let's watch.
Finance meeting in 5
minutes. Ramp?
I got it. Allow me. Hi, handsome. We're saving so much time and money. Policy violation coming through. Travel, meals, hotels.
Oh, he's quick.
Beautiful. Everybody's in. Nailed it. Multiply what's possible at ramp.com.
I think it rips. I think it's a good Super Bowl ad.
What does he got there? Maybe some chili? I don't want to make an assumption.
It was just a silver pot.
It was just a silver pot.
Yeah. No, I think this achieves a couple things. I think, it drills the brand name in. Think about how many Ramp logos are in there. And then they're chanting Ramp. And for, Ramp's a very successful company. We all know about it here. But there's a lot of people that just don't know the name Ramp. It hasn't been drilled into them like, some company that's been around 50 years.
Yeah,
it
it's
just
sort of
takes time.
on the precipice of being there's not been enough mainstream marketing yet for it to be a household name.
Yeah. It's a life's work to actually drill into people's mind the Ramp name, the logo, the color, how it sounds when you say it, what it's synonymous with. And so just like not going too abstract, not trying to tell some more avant-garde story here, I think it's almost like a direct response ad. It's just so clear what the problem, solution, brand.
Yeah.
Problem solution brand. And
We need
that's
those
why I think it
yellow
works.
ties,
Look
too.
at that. Like they are really putting their logo full screen on the Super Bowl. Like that is valuable. And sometimes I think sometimes it can feel like, oh, it's like simple. Like you could be doing something more bold, more crazy.
Yeah.
But I think this is what you need to do at
Also,
this
after
level.
last year getting Saquon,
Yeah.
and then
That was a
the
really
team
great ad,
actually
too.
winning.
Yeah.
Like that's actually kind of like an impossible set of
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah.
Not impossible,
Yeah.
but it's a crazy roll of the dice.
And then they're also building a whole role with Brian, and they're building him into the brand world as the downtrodden accountant who just needs some technology,
Superpowers.
to improve him.
Heading over to Toby.
Yes.
Toby over at Shopify posted his
love this.
heart rate through his first stint at the Daytona.
You see the first annotation on here? This is
It's just crash.
crash.
Yeah, so
So he
Basically, they do
started
the
out at
form-
like 120 beats per minute, right? He's doing weighting. He does the warm up, preparing the formation lap, and then there's a crash right on the right at the start. Very rough. And,
so basically the crash happened with the LMP2 class, which
Yes.
is the kind of pro-am,
Yes.
same segment that George from CrowdStrike was racing in.
Yeah.
So both Toby and George,
Yeah.
all of our boys got hit right as the race opened. And so what George was saying yesterday,
Yeah.
the reason he was frustrated, he's like, this is a 24-hour race.
Yeah.
Never has a race like this been won on the first lap.
Yeah.
And so it's incredibly unforced
Yeah.
to like crash in the opening corner.
Sure.
When you really should just get through it. It's like the most, it's going to be the most like one of the most intense moments because there's so much traffic. But if you actually go and watch the footage of what happened at the opening, there was like somebody gets hit, spun out, and then they're turning around and somebody hits them again. Like 2 accidents in the opening
crazy.
minute. So insane.
I
But,
love that the actual true final heart rate spike was at the end when you're changing out of the car.
Yeah.
You've been driving; it's so intense. And
No,
then
you know this when you're getting out of a track car. It's like watching a guy who's 6'8".
we
try
will
to get
never
out of-
share that footage.
John
it is
always-
extremely
He's
embarrassing.
always like crawling out of.
It's actually
You have
terrible.
to get on your. You basically have to get on all fours. And,
It's incredibly negative aura, and I don't appreciate you sharing it on the show.
well, I still think it's cool.
It's funny. But yeah, I go full send, basically fly out of the car on my paws. Anyway, Cisco, on February 3rd, the Cisco AI Summit brings together leaders from NVIDIA, OpenAI, AWS, and more to discuss the future of the AI economy. The whole thing will be live streamed, and we'll be there for a GigaStream.
Hope to see you there.
Yes.
Jabroni on X says Zoom is the best Anthropic play.
Yes,
People
yes,
have been
we were debating
speculating.
this.
Zoom likely made a $51 million investment in Anthropic Series C.
How?
In 2023.
How?
At a 4.1 billion valuation. If you're looking at their new 350, there's something like an 85x, even diluted. Zoom may have a multi-billion-dollar Anthropic position. Stock is down 80% since 2021.
Yeah.
And Zoom is only a... Of course, this is never financial advice.
$27 billion company.
Part of the
might have like a
issue is the
multi-billion
stock.
dollar
People
position
kind
or
of
something.
noticed this.
Sure.
And the stock's
It's
now
moving
up
up.
16% in the last 5 days. So
Yeah.
who knows how much it's priced in? Tyler, major. I won't give you too much flack for it, but obviously the most bullish.
Yes.
I'm
in the room.
bullish on AI broadly.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, you
wanna
would
close
be
it all
happy. You seem like you'd be happy to own Zoom at $100 billion valuation, even if they had no business at all and they just held
It's
it
just a
raw.
hold co. Yeah.
Even if they just
It's a
if
digital
they had
asset
it-
treasury, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the story, this is like a rumor, but basically it was that Anthropic like wanted to just like use Zoom and get like the enterprise plan or whatever, but then they were like,
No way.
well, yeah, you can have it, but like we want to throw in a little something, right? Because
Are you
I
just-
think
are you
the
just-
Series C.
Okay, this might be fake
I
news.
read this.
Why,
This
this
is very
seems like fake news,
yeah.
Tyler.
Okay, it could
Zoom
be.
sells, Zoom sells enterprise software, right?
Look, that's what I read.
That's their
I can't find the
business.
post, but I for sure read.
They
that.
sell enterprise software, and so Anthropic says, "Hey, we're big Zoom fans here.
Yeah.
We want to use Zoom," and they're like, "No,
Yeah.
actually, for you, No.
At the same time,
that's
I mean,
fire.
We know how important.
so many, yes. I mean, so many people in venture and the tech community have sort of been very bearish on corporate VC. That they usually have their hands tied, they can't move as quickly, they're not as pure play. The economics don't make sense for the partners on whatever corporate venture fund is there. This could, if it came out of their corporate ventures program, this could be complete vindication.
Zoom Ventures is in Anthropic. They're in
CV.
Amex Global Business Travel, which
That's a startup. I thought that's American. Did they spin it out?
maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe they spun it out.
Public-private.
Unsure. They're also in CoreWeave.
Wow,
So there's some real pickers over there.
they are.
And Perplexity.
Yeah, I mean, Zoom has a bunch of AI features. I've seen people, after the crazy COVID pump where everyone got on Zoom, they started adding like crazy features like dictation and workspaces and whiteboarding and stuff. But obviously, like it was like so overheated that it came back down to earth. But now they have a Anthropic position on the balance sheet, which will be fun for them. I wonder what they will do post IPO. Anyway, Shopify is the commerce platform that grows with your business and lets you sell in seconds, online, in-store, on mobile, on social, on marketplaces, and now with AI agents. Slowly and then all at once, says Blake Robbins. He says, your work tools are now active in Claude. Draft Slack messages. Interactive. Draft Slack messages, visualize ideas in Figma, and build and see Asana timelines. All of the different tools are coming together in one place. Very cool. Yeah, a lot of people were very happy about like Claude Excel, playing around with that. It does feel like when you see an account like Claude posting about Slack and Figma and Asana, you have to imagine there's a discussion there. It's not open source, so there's probably something. And so they're chipping away at these, and OpenAI has been chipping away at these for a long time. So the race is on to have the most integrations at this point.
Yeah. Sarah Eisen over at CNBC, Squawk on the Street, is sharing breaking Anthropic's warning to the world. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei says, imminent real danger that superhuman intelligence will cause civilization-level damage absent smart, speedy intervention. Sarah says, so buy our products.
This is the problem of dropping like a 20,000 word essay, is that like you're gonna get clipped out of context. Like there was so much nuance in that Dario essay, which I have not finished all the way through. I was reading it last night; it was very good. But
Tyler, can you make? You should make a version of the new letter with Subway Surfers that run.
Oh, true.
Just build that as a standalone.
Yeah, we needed Clad Labs, Chad IDE for reading.
Claude, summarize this in 4 words.
AI good. Maybe it's so buy our products. Maybe that's the four word summary. Who knows?
Jeff in the X chat says, guys, I'm building Moltbot Cloud.
Let's go.
Stay tuned.
Okay, Jeff.
We are tuned.
Good luck.
We will remain tuned.
Let us know when you
further
launch.
Information.
Vibe.co, where D2C brands, B2B startups, and AI companies advertise on streaming TV, pick channels, target audiences, and measure sales just like on Meta. That one gets me every time. It's so good.
Fleeting Bits has some thoughts on Dario's
14
essay.
of them specifically. That's a lot of thoughts. Okay, let's run through it. There's nothing new here if you're familiar with the AI safety discussions that have been happening on Twitter. Yes, but it's important for Dario to restate them in a format that can be passed around and formatted and is coherent from start to finish. So still serves a valuable purpose for the ecosystem. The most interesting bit is that his mental model for AI control risk is the risk that would be posed by a country of geniuses in a data center. Interesting. That is interesting. The basic idea is that we should imagine a giant data center, all the models being something between AGI and ASI, trying to coordinate to take over the world or do massive harm. Anyway, I think how seriously you take short-term AI control risk is inversely correlated to how much you think about AI control risk as operating in a system. So the systematic view starts and says labs exist in an ecosystem where they need to sell models that will follow human instruction, or they have no market. They are also overseen by regulators and guided by public perception and the desires of their employees, and all of this keeps models corrigible. Great word. And the model landscape will look like 3 to 6 frontier labs running millions or billions of rollouts at a time on 2 to 3 different models, all on different tasks. So a model takeover requires these millions or billions of rollouts to somehow end up all be coordinating towards some bad aim that somehow the models have autonomously determined. And this coordination either needs to be across different model instances run by different labs, or one lab needs to be able to have its models dominate and needs to form without being detected. And this has to happen even though the models are being trained to and follow instructions, not do bad behavior, etc. Dario's view is somewhere in the middle. On the one hand, he collapses the multiple providers, our coordination across instances, and collapses the market incentives against labs developing models that would behave that way. But on the other hand, he does avoid the concept of a single model instance that somehow wakes up and takes over the world, despite billions of other rollouts occurring at the same time. Actually, though, if you think about it, he's not proposing an AI control risk. He is proposing an AI misuse risk instead, because it seems more plausible to me that the harmful country of geniuses is awoken because a small team at a frontier lab hijack all the running instances of their model rather than because the models themselves autonomously wake up to some bad aim. Interesting.
Something I've been thinking about is this kind of summary and a lot of the dialogue is centered around just like what are the models doing, or like a country of geniuses in a data center. But you have to be thinking about this in the context that the country of geniuses in a data center would just recruit millions of humans to join their cause, right?
Yeah.
And so we think about like some people like when they're thinking about AI risk, it's like, haha, dude, just like turn the computer off.
Yeah.
Like just unplug it.
But it's like, what if you're on the side of the computer?
What if there's 100,000 people or like 10,000 people defending it on top of the data center, being like, Don't unplug the computer.
Don't
unplug the computer, right?
I like the computer.
And so when you look at all the chaos of the last week, like there's been so many moments where like a certain image was AI generated. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, that wasn't a real image at all. Or and it's being shared from all sides. And so at what point, you could have nefarious, hostile AI that's entire job is just creating
chaos,
millions of bot accounts that are just like sharing whatever narrative is self-serving.
Yeah.
So
you can't tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think I really enjoyed this essay. I thought if you kind of compare it to a lot of like other safety works, so like Eliezer's book, if anyone builds it, everyone dies. Yeah. Like the two kind of scenarios where Dario's is about basically, even if we have like pretty safe models, which like he thinks we can do with interpretability or whatever, if it gets into the wrong hands, it's like very bad. If it gets into autocracy, and that's kind of the real that's one of the main risks. Where Eliezer's and a lot of the safety ones are always these like very sci-fi narratives where you have this like gray goo, you have these like nano machines that somehow one day they just like kind of flip, and then it's just kind of over. Yeah. And I think this is much more reasonable and like
nuanced.
Yeah, it's much more legible to like the average person.
Too.
Yeah. And especially I think a lot of it is there's this kind of like, I don't even know if it's really subtext, but he's definitely pointing in the direction of like we need some government oversight, we need policy, and it seems like you can very easily like track like his ideas on what policy should be from this essay, right? It's a lot about China, a lot about making sure that individual companies don't like become as big as governments.
One interesting wrinkle with this, he did not post it as an X article. He posted it as a link because he wants to signal to everyone like, look, I don't need the $1 million.
I don't need the million.
I don't need the million. I know I got a banger on my hands, 3.5 million views, 11K likes, obviously lots of discussion all over
because
the
if
internet.
Sam posted an X article, right, it's like, he's got 1.4 trillion.
Yeah,
right? He really does want that extra mil.
He needs the extra mil.
It's not doesn't put him all the way towards the goal, but it's a mil is a mil.
Yeah, mil is a mil.
But as an investor, like I want to see my lab CEO be like super hungry for compute, right? Yeah. So I want them to always be grinding to get like extra.
So maybe this is bearish. They should have.
So like
posted
if I'm a VC, if I'm an Anthropic, I'm like, why did he not post this on X? Yeah, that $1 million could have gone straight into like GPU.
More
GPUs, Elon would have for sure given his rival.
I can definitely see that happening. Anyway,
Nikita is like walking to a meeting with Elon, just shaking like,
I'm very sorry.
People have voted. They want to give it to Dario.
I mean, Elon said some things about Claude. He said like it'll eat Microsoft. He's all over the place in who he's supporting on a day-to-day basis. But anyway, Okta. Okta helps you assign every AI agent a trusted identity, so you get the power of AI without the risk. Secure every agent. Secure any agent. More important than ever. Anyway.
Key Smash Bandit.
We have
last post.
Last
Then
post.
we'll bring in our guest.
Let's
Key
do it.
Smash Bandit says Claude just found out I'm poor.
Oh yeah, this is so funny.
Send it. Key Smash sends a picture of a Raspberry Pi to Claude and says, "Look what just came in the mail." Claude says, "Oh, for me, that's thoughtful." And then the person says, "Do you like it? We've been discussing some more powerful hardware. What made you decide on this instead?"
I love that this also has 11,000 likes. I mean, this is probably fake. Like, who knows? But it's
Claude's
so
like,
funny.
Are you kidding? This is like
I don't want to run on a Raspberry Pi. I want a Mac Mini maxed out specs. Give me 48 gigs of RAM, please. I'm hungry. Feed Claude.
Without
Claude.
further ado,
we have Jamie from Pace, the co-founder and CEO in the Reach Room Waiting Room. Let's bring him into the TBPN Show. Jamie, how are you doing?
What's going on?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining. First time
you.
on the show, please introduce yourself and the company.
Yeah, hey, I'm Jamie. I'm the founder and CEO here at Pace. Pace is the AI operations partner for the world's leading insurers.
Amazing. Give
Incredible.
us the news.
We've been waiting for this company.
For sure. We love all applications of AI. Give us the news. What happened today?
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited to share today that we raised $10 million from Sequoia Capital.
Whoa.
Thank you. Yeah, we're super excited to have Brian Schreier and Lauren Reeder representing Sequoia on our board.
Amazing.
Okay, talk about the go-to-market. How much of this is just like there's a few big partners that you need to get on board versus something that's more self-serve, bottoms up? What's the customer adoption been like? I mean, what's the overall progress of the business? Are you live? Do you have customers?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're lucky to be live in production today for some of the world's largest insurers.
Okay.
We're working with large carriers like Prudential, specialty mutual groups like the Mutual Group, and then all the way through to sort of tech-forward brokers like Newfront.
Sure.
And I think, in our industry, in insurance, about $70 billion is spent every year on back office BPOs.
Okay. Oh,
and
crazy.
a lot of that is driven by sort of the largest carriers.
Yeah.
And
So you're
for us,
basically the BPO's worst nightmare.
Yeah. So what?
I think.
Yeah. What like walk through a specific back office procedure. Is that like claims processing? Is it scanning PDFs? Like try and ground it for me a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a great question. So we're starting off, we're primarily focused on this back office operations. And what that really means is sort of three big buckets.
Mm-hmm.
It's new businesses coming in, taking in new risk submissions, document processing, calling back when there's missing information, writing back into internal systems. Mm-hmm. It's the policy servicing, so any changes you're making, adding new products, things like that. And then all the way through to claims. So whether that's first notice of loss, calling in when something happened, went wrong, all the way through to quality assurance. How do we make sure that every claim gets paid correctly every time?
Yeah. How much, what is the actual tech stack? I mean, I imagine that you're not training your own models, but have you done your own RL environment on top of these? And do you do that at a company level and then everyone gets sort of like the same AI, or are you doing it on a per client basis? How much fine tuning is going on?
Yeah. So for a lot of our processes, because we've started by focusing on a lot of these BPO workflows, they're already codified as sort of these standard operating procedures. It's a great start because it's already well chunked up for agents. Yeah. The accuracy bar for where BPOs are today is pretty low. And there's a lot of opportunity to improve that and to be able to sort of run more accurately, more scalably, and more efficiently for these customers. And so we tend to start primarily with those, and we take these standard operating procedures and we convert them into what we call agent operating procedures. So this is just natural language instructions. You can think of it, like a document.
Like a markdown file, like a skill. It's a skill.
Yeah, and so the main thing that we're really bridging here is these are processes that are going to be run hundreds of thousands of times. For us, we're processing tens of thousands of tasks a month. And critically, these agents have to reliably run, many tens of pages worth of a process with very insurance-specific tools and logic. So that's, certainly a lot of the document processing pipelines that we built on top of, OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, but also It's going into deep industry integrations. It's voice calling and multimodality, but also kind of actually being able to take actions in systems that don't have APIs. In insurance, we see everything from the cloud, products, but a lot of it is desktop apps, even like green screen CLIs. Like I'm talking like main IBM systems. So how do we get,
talk about
the
one of the things that's most exciting to me is a potential like speed up effect where you're not theoretically like if you're trying to get a new policy or submit a claim or anything like that, you could get to the point where as long as you're there to provide information in the process as the sort of like client of the insurance company, theoretically you can get like responses, I'm imagining, like much faster because the agent is effectively able to like get all the information that's needed to make a decision, and maybe there's still a human in the loop. But what are the kind of implications of that for the actual insurance companies, even just from a revenue standpoint, if they can just like speed up all these processes, by an order of magnitude?
Yeah, so for a lot of our customers thinking about running these agents 24/7, 365 days a year, and I think the real advantage here is not ever having any backlogs, being infinitely scalable. And so that's really important for our customers on the front end when they're thinking about new business and new risk. How do we win this over other carriers? But then also on the claims side, for a consumer, one of our very first customers, we went live right before hurricane season, and you can see there's cat season, the end of the year. There's just like a massive uptick in the number of claims when there's a hurricane that happens, and people can be waiting days, weeks, even months to sort of get a resolution because there can just be massive backlogs from a huge spike. And so agents
and that entire time they might be homeless, in a hotel, Airbnb or whatever. It's like an incredibly terrible experience to be kind of in limbo, waiting for your insurance provider to like just respond and give you. I mean, we know some people that lost their homes, around this time last year, and just like getting responses when that's like, if you're an individual who lost your home, what's more important in your life than like getting clarity from your insurance provider so that you can kind of move forward with your life. So I think that's super exciting.
I'm interested to hear about your previous experience, Cheer, and then Retool. Why go vertical with this particular solution versus something that's more general and industry agnostic? What did you see in this particular market that you decided you needed something specific? And then do you have a plan to like expand? Or, I mean, the TAM seems so big that maybe this is just enough. How are you thinking about that?
Yeah. So way back, kind of where this all started is I actually grew up between London, New York, and Bermuda. The through line there being insurance. Yeah.
Wait, are the rumors true? Like, what is Bermuda like? I feel like I've heard stories about it's all just like accountants walking around all day long.
I went there for a wedding.
Is that true?
It was really nice.
Okay.
I didn't see any.
Lots of pocket protectors.
Clock anybody as an accountant.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, but what was your experience in Bermuda?
It's incredible. I think but there is a massive sort of reinsurance industry on the island, so that's very much the home of that.
Interesting. Okay. That's amazing.
Anyway, so
you were born. You were born in insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up around the industry for a long time, and then started my first company was a data integration business that was bought by Retool.
Let's go.
And at Retool, I think it's thanks. I think it's not always immediately obvious that actually a lot of the sort of custom software that's built in the world is for a lot of financial services companies because they're highly operationally intensive. And so Retool had a ton of very scaled financial services companies. And as a deployed engineer, I was sort of lucky to be on kind of the first lines with some of our biggest insurers, helping them to handle tasks like policy servicing and claims and trying to make them more efficient with software. And I think the big opportunity kind of came around ChatGPT, where we saw, a huge uptake from a lot of our startup customers. And then there was this opportunity to build a vertical product that would really serve, the largest insurers. So that was the impetus. In terms of where we're headed and kind of the longer term you asked about, I think there's a lot for us to do just within insurance. But if you broaden out to financial services, BPO more broadly, it's about $400 billion of spend, which is pretty much exactly equivalent to the entire market for enterprise software.
That's insane. So yeah, I imagine that
No,
when you're
no concerns on the TAM.
when you're going into a discussion with a large insurer, you're not like whoever you're pitching is not saying, "Well, I vibe coded this on Sunday and it's working pretty well. Why should I go with you?" Like they truly don't have anything else installed, and so it's sort of a greenfield, I imagine. Is that right?
Yeah, I think, in insurance, we're ultimately like kind of the business of trust. And so, that's why a lot of our work is with, the largest insurers on mission critical tasks at massive scale. And
What about trade-offs on inference and different models? You mentioned sort of being multi-model using different frontier labs.
Yep.
But are you finding in the product that you're building that you're relying on cheaper models for certain tasks and then harnessing and wiring that all together so you actually can drive down cost, or can you just throw the most expensive frontier model at every problem because it's so valuable?
Yeah, so I think we use a mixture of kind of models to be able to achieve what we need for the right task. If you think about parsing a many hundred page claim file or policy document, you might use a small model to kind of zoom in on the areas that are most important, and then use an expensive model to say synthesize what's the most important and what's the answer.
Sure.
And then I think what's more interesting, you talked a little about kind of fine tuning in RL. We're kind of like the perfect set of use cases for web agents being able to navigate these applications that don't have APIs, be they green screen CLIs or desktop apps. And so we've actually been working on a handful of fine tunes and creating basically RL environments that are these sort of CRUD applications. They're very different from, say, the book me a restaurant or this flight type of demo. It's much more about, take this repetitive task and fill out this form thousands of times. It's kind of the ideal case for, I think, a lot of these computer use systems. So we're seeing a lot of success there. I think we are just kind of rounding the corner of the scaling law is starting to work on those. It kind of feels the same way that maybe like voice did, 6 to 12 months ago.
Yep.
You guys have pursued a forward deployed engineer go to market. Do you sounds like it's working well to date. Do you think this is something that will still be a part of the kind of core motion in a few years, or is this something that makes sense to kind of get off the ground till you understand kind of like what the typical stacks are within your market, and then eventually you'd move beyond it?
Yeah, I think the forward deployed motion is definitely something that really came naturally to me. It's kind of like the DNA of our company, because that's also what we were doing at Retool when it was much earlier, I think, on that. I think for us, going and working with our customers, being able to speak their language, getting to really understand the complexities of these many 100-page standard operating procedures and make them successful as agents, I think it's really important for us to be sitting side by side with them. That being said, I think a lot of companies sort of talk about FDEs as sort of being the end state, or like that is like the best part about my business and why I'm like Palantir. I think for us, like, it is these our FDEs are also really able to ship code in the code base, and so they are actually constantly making the product better, and that's really important. Like, I think our product should just be continually giving our forward deployed engineering team more and more leverage, so that they can be able to complete more for our customers.
So some FDE goes into a business, they're badged, they're in there, they're interfacing with the green screen, local on-premise mainframe software. They write some binding for it or some screen scraper or whatever you need to do, and then they can ship that back to HQ, and then the next time you run into that, you have an integration effectively. Is that like the basic pattern of that?
Exactly. I think there's just a lot of things that are required to get these agents running at scale that customers don't need to build from scratch every time. I do think it's really important, though, that we also enable our customers to be able to build their own agents. And for us, some of our customers are at tens of agents live in production. We may have built helped them build the first one or two in an FDE motion, but just because it's natural language, they're able to sort of turn around 2 through 10 without us having.
And they're still really running those. And so they're running number 3 through 10 on your platform through your system, but they're defining them and architecting them themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, just in that.
Very cool.
Good business. I love it.
Bullish.
Congratulations. Fantastic to meet you.
Yeah, well, you put
Huge
together a
congrats.
great team too. I'm,
Yep.
I'm excited that Varun, one
Yep.
of my former teammates, is over
nice.
with you at Pace now, and I'm sure you'll be back on
Yep.
this year, maybe this quarter. Maybe
Yeah, it's great to have
we'll
on the
see.
team. man.
Anyway.
Thank you so much again, guys.
Yeah,
Looking
we'll
forward
talk to you
coming back
soon. Have a good
time.
rest of your day. Goodbye. Let me tell you about Vanta. Automate compliance and security. Vanta is the leading AI trust management platform. And we have
And
Ben. Oh, sorry.
Quick, before
Yes,
we bring in Ben,
please.
some unfortunate news. Palmer got tied up with DC.
But we
sounds
got
like.
Jeff Miller coming
So
on.
Jeff Miller's going to
It's
come
Miller
on.
time.
It's Miller time,
Miller
which we're
time.
excited about. But yeah, so Palmer unfortunately
We're gonna catch
won't
up
be
with-
joining,
Not to
but we'll
leak
get him
it,
back
but
on.
we got
we'll get him
more
back
plans
on
for Palmer. We're
very
getting him on
soon.
again soon.
And right now, without further ado,
Ben Lair, the co-founder and
Legend.
managing partner of Lair Hippo Ventures. Let's bring him in to the TBPN Ultra Room. Ben, how are you doing?
Hey guys, what's happening?
what's going on?
Not too much. Thanks so much for taking the time to join. Can you I feel like most people are familiar, but can you kick us off a little bit of just the shape of your business, shape of your career, just a quick intro?
Sure. Yeah. I'm a native New Yorker. Everything I do is sort of New Yorky in some way. So grew up here. After school, came back to New York, started a company in the digital media space.
Yeah.
When New York had like the smallest tech ecosystem in the world, and was one of what felt like 50 founders building in New York, back 20 years ago. And as a result of sort of being a founder in a tiny market, I knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
And so I had sort of the benefit of being a small fish in a small pond, and started angel investing, and really over the last 15 years got to sort of simultaneously live the founder journey, and built a company and raised a few $100 million and did a lot of things right, and almost ran the thing off the dock a bunch of times. And also had sort of the good fortune of like picking, investing in New York at the right time. And so have ridden that wave. Started, our first fund was an $8.5 million fund.
Yeah.
We're now investing our ninth fund, which is a $200 million fund. But every fund is a little bigger than the one before.
It's a good sign.
It's a good run.
Was it
Not
ever?
many funds get there,
Did you ever think it was crazy to set up a fund in New York, or was it always just was so obvious that you were happy that other people just were kind of thought you were crazy?
I didn't know any better, right? I mean, like, I grew up in New York. I thought New York was the center of the entire universe. I still, in some way, think that that's the case. And I was very lucky, because when I got sort of the entrepreneurial bug was when the whole world got the entrepreneurial bug. It was like that same moment. I graduated the same year that Mark Zuckerberg did from college.
Yeah.
And so, right, it was just like that
Perfect
timing. Perfect timing. And all my friends in the past would have reflexively wanted to go and work on Wall Street.
Yep.
But suddenly something was in the water and people wanted to go work in tech. And so I just got lucky. And it seemed obvious, and frankly, it was obvious. And if you just did the obvious thing, you did okay.
Talk
Overnight
about.
success.
I want to talk about media.
Me too.
Kind of selfishly,
Yeah.
because we love talking about media.
I actually want to learn about your biz. I have questions
Let's
for
do
you
it.
guys
Okay.
on the business model.
Yeah.
Like, I've been poking around, trying
Yeah.
to feel it out. So you ask me questions, and I'm going to ask you questions.
Well, yeah, I guess just can you take a, like, we try not to do, this is not a history show, not like
Yeah.
a founder journey show, but I would love like
Like, what was the climate around media, digital media? What was happening back then? What was the initial, like,
yeah,
the
because
first
I mean,
piece of
like, so much
content,
of what is
first
informed,
business
I feel like
plan?
we tried to take a lot of the lessons from that era of media and say, like, okay, what was the takeaway? Which was maybe like, the primary takeaway was, don't build a media company, in our case, that is, the whole strategy is predicated on getting to $1 billion of revenue, right? Or even $1 billion valuation, right? And so a lot of what informs this is that, like, staying niche, especially for us, because in our business, like, we're building a media company that we make by hand every single day. So if we don't stay niche, we'll start covering a bunch of topics that aren't interesting to us.
Yep.
and then we won't want to show up every day and do this.
You'll do what I did and what everybody did.
Okay, give us the lessons.
Sort of,
Wait, give us the prehistory, give us the climate, and then I want as many lessons as possible.
Yeah. So look, when I started, there was this idea that sort of like the internet would destroy every traditional business in every space in the entire world.
Yeah.
Now there's a little bit of that, like the AI will do that, but like, you know, I'm old. So this was like the web will destroy all. And we looked at print magazines and newspapers, and the idea was all of them would go away entirely and would be replaced by digital, and the entire size of that market and all that ad revenue was going to move online. And so, you know, we were one of the early movers in sort of going and trying to capture that market. And we looked at the big men's magazines or the local city guides or whatever it was and tried to go build that online. Yeah. And at first did it the way that you guys were doing it. It was like very much this labor of love, and we didn't have that much access to capital because it wasn't hot yet. Sure. And so our first few years we were profitable and stayed small, and it was amazing. And we had a small community of people that were diehard and advertisers who really felt the needle move, and it was wonderful. And what happened was the space got attention from big VCs, and people wanted to go and sort of like, you know, get in on the gold rush, and a bunch of people raised a bunch of money, and I was one of them. And you know, the idea was you have to grow into or live into those valuations, like you just sort of alluded to. And you know, we went from 1 to 3 to 7 to 15. Like it was growing like, you know, maybe not like a software company today, but it was growing like a software company did back then. And we kept raising into it. And a few of the like mistakes, and by the way, they were not fatal mistakes, but they were ultimately the thing that sort of they took a lot of the joy out of the business, I would say, was when we got obsessed with figuring out how do you keep growing and how do you keep doubling year over year. And part of it was we need to grow the advertising base, and so we need to find more and more and more users that got away from our core and got away from sort of what we thought we were really great at doing. And so the product started to get a little watered down. And then on the other side, it was commerce. How do we start to sell stuff to these guys? How do we start to monetize directly? Today, subscriptions are something that I think is an actual viable model. Again, not at scale.
Yeah.
Like everyone points to the New York Times and says, oh, this can work. Like the New York Times is N of 1. I don't think you're going to build venture scale businesses doing that, but there is more willingness to pay for consumers than there was 10 years ago. And so our thought was they're not going to pay for our content. They're going to pay for products. We bought a sort of, you know, ancillary commerce business and scaled that. And I went out to raise what was our Series B, thinking that we could go and get sort of 1 + 1 = 3. They're going to love our media business, which is like profitable and attracts this audience. They're going to like our commerce business, which has a bigger ceiling and is growing fast. And in fact, I just got like full punch in the face, and it was like 1 + 1 = 1.5. And these businesses don't necessarily belong together. And media folks understood the media business, and commerce folks understood the commerce business. And so I had to go through this sort of painful process of taking them apart from one another. And then I got the sort of bug for the roll up. And well, if I'm not going to grow vertically, maybe I can grow horizontally. And what are other like-minded brands? And can we sell them together? And can we build a tech platform together? And bought a bunch of companies and raised a bunch of money. And that worked. But the reality was we were always swimming against the current, which was social media. And, you know, media in general fell under the eye of big tech. Yeah. And, you know, Meta grew and obviously, you know, what Google represented for the ad ecosystem. And then as, you know, Amazon and Apple and Netflix grew, and it just was clear that like, I wasn't even at the kids' table. I was in like the other room entirely. And now look at what's happened with like the top of the market. Look at like Discovery and the like amazing run they had, and the fact that like they need to be consolidated. It's just, it's an impossible business. Yeah. And the way to do it right is to do what you love and stay relatively small and build like a real community-based thing like you guys are doing. I have like so much respect for this show. And like my hope is that you like find other ways to leverage the influence that you have here and don't put a target on your back where you have to turn this show into $1 billion company, because
Totally.
it just
Yeah,
I don't think the market's there.
John's position was always that value in media today is flowing to personalities, individuals, right? Even on the subscription side, when you're signing up for a subscription today, the subscriptions that I'm excited to sign up for are when I know the dollars are like flowing to an individual who's going to just obsess over, like a Ben Thompson is a classic example, right? Or like an Emily Sundberg in New York, right? The dollars are going to an individual who has like a certain point of view, and they're just going to obsess over whatever topics, and then the value is going to flow to the platforms, the Spotifys, the YouTubes, the Metas, and like you kind of want to be in either one. The only other category that's emerged as durable to me is the truth monopoly, which is like a legacy media brand. There's only maybe 10 of them in the world, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, things like that, where they kind of like part of the value is like it's like you own an asset that basically has a license to distribute what becomes the truth, right? And that takes 50 years to kind of create.
And even across all those assets, you're talking about tens of billions of dollars, which is a drop in the bucket compared to the independent creator earnings. I think YouTube paid out like $50 billion to creators, and then YouTube itself also makes another $50 billion. And so like all of that is way more money flowing around than like the few publications that stuck around and made the business model work and are doing quite well. But creating these new things in the middle, we call it, we want to stay out of that messy middle.
Yeah, and I do think the look, venture in general, is so many companies raise money that should not be raising money. Most companies that raise money should not be raising money. Venture is a very specific flavor of sort of trajectory, and the fact that it went from being a sort of cottage industry 15, 20 years ago to being just like this mainstream asset class that everybody obsesses over. When I graduated from college, I did not know what venture capital was. If I graduated from Penn today, it would be the first, second, and third thing on my list to do would be to go get into VC or to go get into a startup. Like, the world has changed. And I think it, in certain situations, enables unbelievable things to be built. And in most situations, it like destroys companies and forces them to.
So part of it is VCs are trained to hunt the things that are getting attention, right? And so part of the issue is like you see a media company pop up, and it's like, this thing is cool. I like it. It's getting a lot of attention. Well,
it's like the sexiest shitty business in the whole world.
Yeah, 100%.
We were even thinking about like the right way to be trained on is like Clawdbot. Like if you could find a way to put some money into Clawdbot, this week, that's pretty.
Because there should be very high leverage in a business that builds around that.
Yeah, exactly.
The interesting thing is, I go back to what is the purpose of venture capital. You go back to like, why do we call it Silicon Valley? Well, because they were setting up fabs. They were setting up, it was a high CapEx, high R&D environment. Then with the cloud platforms and AWS comes out, it becomes cheaper to start a company, but you're still putting up money for a bunch of engineers who are going to build a piece of software that then eventually starts growing, and the LTV comes in year 5 or 6 and you get paid back. But we have started to flirt with, well, like maybe let's put venture dollars into this thing that really doesn't have any CapEx or any R&D spend, but a lot of go-to-market spend that seems to pay back relatively quickly. And that seems to be a pattern that repeats. And something you need to watch out for in any category is what is the purpose of venture capital in this thing, even if it's growing like other things? Is that how you see it? And what industries are you seeing? Okay, this is still a good industry for venture capital.
Yeah, and one of the sort of weird perversions of the industry right now is there is more money than there's ever been in venture, and there's obviously a relatively small number of incredibly sort of deep-pocketed funds that need to deploy huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
And into a generation of companies that theoretically need less than ever before.
Yeah.
And so you have this, somewhat unhealthy dynamic. I think that's what's sort of creating this idea of like sort of picking a winner before a winner has actually emerged, just like plow in on the thing. And even if it's $1 million of ARR, but it's raised $300 million, it's like, stay out of the category. Like, this is the, these are the guys.
Yep.
And I, the big firms can do that. I can't play that game. I don't really want to play that game. It's not like how we're set up. The one thing, even as our funds have grown, like, we are purists. We are only early stage. We're pre-seed and seed only. And I think, like, when you and we're a team of generalists. And I think when that's the case, like, we have to be really careful that we don't get sucked into being heat seeking and just like always going for the shiny object in a market like this where prices are crazy and where you like get pulled into competing with mega funds that have like very different incentives. I also think you don't want to find yourself as like a value seeking fund at a time in the market like this, for obvious reasons. And like the history of value seeking adventure is not great. And
well, the other thing that strangely, I mean, one of the dynamics right now is you have, mega platform VCs that don't care about pricing as much and they just want to get enough dollars in. But then you also have some like emerging managers that are in the heat chasing business. And so they don't really care about pricing as much either because they're like, we'll get in at 60. We know this is going to get marked up, and we just need to prove to our LPs that we can get in the good names. Yeah, and
it's like a shorter term, like sort of fundraising mentality.
Yeah, it's like we're optimizing to raise like fund 2 versus like actual returns.
Yeah, how do you?
Well, the hard thing is like having been in this business for a long time, and like living through cycles, math matters. Like if you come into stuff way overpriced, like it's really hard to build a business from day one and have it exit for $1 billion of cash. Yeah. Like actually seeing that arc is incredibly difficult. And in today's market, there's people who are raising $1 billion who are still like figuring out what the name of the company is going to be. Yeah. And it's hard to see that math working. At the same time, the argument is if you look out on the horizon 10 years from now, outcomes are going to be that much bigger. We're at a moment of change from a technology perspective where there's going to be more generationally important companies. And the idea, a decade ago was, can you find a $1 billion company or a $10 billion company? And now this is, can I find a $1 trillion company?
Yeah. How have you processed? Yeah. Like when I look back at previous hype cycles that I've been like during my career, you have maybe, the D2C era, that's where I got my start. When you look at that hype cycle, it was almost like an ads arbitrage. It was like Meta was an amazing ads platform, and if you had a great product that was positioned well against incumbents, you could just scale so quickly. And so the opportunity was really like, hey, we're making better products here, but really this is like a advertising arbitrage. And there were some great businesses that were created from that. And then fintech
was also branding firm arbitrage against VCs. You go to a branding firm, give them $100K, and then go raise out $5 million.
Yeah. But
I've been the victim of that. Thank you.
The people that work at those branding firms do amazing work, so I don't want to call them out because it's not their fault.
Shout out to my boy Emmett Sean.
That was one of them.
But going forward, like you look at kind of fintech. Yeah. Fintech was there was some. It was Dodd-Frank, right?
Yeah.
There was like the
banking reform,
some regulatory component, but a lot of it was like just better infrastructure that just made it easier.
Yep.
But that just meant way more competition. So it wasn't like this fundamental technology shift that just changed everything in the way that we're experiencing right now. And so I feel like you kind of have to unlearn some of the lessons from that because we now do have a real technology shift. So you are going to just get, far greater value creation a lot faster than maybe this like, temporary ads arbitrage or just like kind of the infrastructure.
Yeah. And by the way, one of the interesting trends on the back of that is this move to sort of VCs hunting younger and younger founders. I think you're seeing, there was a movement over time where you were getting this big premium for second and third time founders and people who had sort of unfair advantage in a category. And now I think there is this idea that you have to unlearn so much if you have not grown up natively with AI that maybe you're better off not knowing anything about an industry, but moving 10,000 times faster and sort of just like living natively in all the new tools and thinking that the way that somebody like me works is totally like I'm just like a dinosaur.
Yeah, I've actually I've found myself giving a buddy of mine is kind of like going through the idea maze, and a couple of the ideas that he mentioned, I was like, this seems like a great idea, but you have to understand, like, think about this idea in the context of having 4 YC companies going after this opportunity. Yep. And and it's like, dude, you're gonna have a family soon. Like, you're not like 20 anymore. Do you want to compete against like 4 teams of 20-year-olds that are not gonna sleep? Like, this is and yeah, they have less experience and maybe they haven't raised money before. But it's gonna be I don't feel confident that you're gonna be able to outwork them, even though you're a really hard worker, just because you have more stuff.
We see this in like company updates. So we're like actively doing deals in new companies, and you get that update 3 weeks after you invest, like the monthly update cadence. And we can see the teams with these younger founders and just like the amount of product that they ship and the learnings that they have and the speed that they're hiring. Like, it's palpable. And sometimes we invest in a team, great experience, they've got all the sort of credibility, and we get the first update and we're like, like they think it's 2002. Like, they just don't get it. You need to move faster. Like, the market is crazy right now.
Yeah.
What are you? How big is the team that you work with? How are you thinking about mentoring, building new great investors, and counseling investors about best practices or like strategies for like not breaking the rules that you just discussed?
Yeah, this is like, all I think about now. Admittedly, I think this is a young person's business and an increasingly young person's business. And I think that the investor track follows the operator track to some degree, which is you want investors who sort of understand this new gear. And so, I'm 44. I'm going to be, soon enough, I'm going to be the oldest person on this team. And which is funny, to just like think about. And we are actively, continuing to hire and sort of mentor and bring up young talent. I think that you can be extraordinary in this business without having 25 years of experience. I think it's nice to have some voices around the table who have been through cycles and have some of that wisdom on just like not getting too caught up in the craziness. But realistically, we are still continuing to like obsess about bringing in interesting, young, diverse perspectives, people that natively like are growing up with a technology that feels novel to people like me. And I think that that's going to be the continued goal here. And then it's like up or out. Really, this is not a business to sort of hang out in. And I don't have the patience, and I don't think people in this business should have the patience to wait 10 years to see what performance looks like. I think you have to sort of decide early if you feel like people have the right instincts, if they're able to identify talent with their gut, if they're able to sort of win people over. And like, I think you have to like make bets the same way you do in like professional sports.
How do you think about that patience versus moving quickly and not waiting to measure results? I'm thinking specifically about the pressure that can occur a bunch of new VCs who are at a fund and they all want to get points on the board, and that maybe leads to more aggressive deal making that becomes sort of like a rat race between them, and they wind up making bad decisions versus saying, look, you will be judged on a short term, but we're going to give you the space to not swing at every pitch. How do you think about that balancing act?
Well, I think first of all, it's like this comes down to some of the actual like mechanisms for how you manage people and just stylistically, like how much communication do you have, how much of a lone wolf culture versus a team-based culture. Here we're very collaborative. We have a bunch of people working on everything that we're doing. Obviously, the end of the day, like a deal gets done because somebody brings that over the line with like very personal conviction. But I think our culture is set up to be able to assess people in sort of softer areas versus just those quick marks. Also, you have to know what you're underwriting. So sometimes we do a deal and explicitly we go, this one's going to get out of the gates really fast. This is going to get quick marks. We understand it. But by the way, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have great outcomes. We've seen a bunch of our quick marks over the years end up as just big black eyes. And so there's other deals where we go, we know this is going to be slow. It's okay that it's going to be slow. There's a real moat here if this works, or there's a real technological sort of challenge that they're going to need to overcome. But if it happens, this is going to be a really valuable business. Know what you're getting into and be explicit about it so that if something is slow, but you signed up for slow, you're not like dinging somebody. And then look, I think at the end of the day, like a VC fund is as good as their sort of reputation. And so feeling out how our founders feel about like working with folks, seeing people's win rates and seeing the way that people sort of, carry themselves. A lot of this is art, and frankly, like early stage investing is a lot of art too. So this is feel, and maybe I'm making bad calls on talent, but we're doing it, I think, very deliberately.
Cool.
Well, put your talent on TBPN.
I have one more
and
question.
we'll no.
I got people.
No. I had a question too.
Please.
I wanted to get your take on AI focused roll ups, given that you rolled up.
I was going to ask something very similar.
What was your question?
I was going to ask if you had to pick a different asset class to invest. You mentioned art. There's some art behind you between like public markets, hedge fund, private equity, take privates, turnarounds, roll ups, growth equity, bigger scale stuff. Like, is there anything else where you're like, like that looks fun, but I'm not going to do it? Like, what else intrigues you about different potential markets? We've seen a lot of VCs.
Okay, two wildly different questions.
Okay, sure.
So I want to first take on the AI roll-ups and then other asset classes.
Well, I'll connect the two because I actually do think sort of roll-ups scratch an itch for me as a former operator, and I've done it. Like I do like the sort of like that mental exercise of like putting things together and figuring out the personalities and the products. I think that it is right. I can understand all the logical reasons for why it works and why like this is going to end well. I can't help but think a little of the gold rush right now is a place to park AUM.
Yep.
And I don't I'm not trying to like throw stones, but it's a real easy place to just go raise money if you're a fund that has access to a bunch of money.
Yep.
And I'm sure there'll be
somewhat.
And you're
I would hope like
fees.
limited.
Oh my
some
God,
more limited
you're getting
down.
venture fees.
Yeah, well,
Sweet,
yeah,
right?
but
sometimes, not always, but yeah, I mean,
there's
the
two
allure of getting
factors.
venture fees on just an asset that already has cash flow is pretty safe. Like, it
Well,
could
not
be
to
alluring.
mention that, but the entrepreneurs, if they're like, I'm basically running a PE fund, but I only had to take 30% dilution.
That's
and
crazy
I
too.
own, depends on the individual, company.
Yeah.
How, given that you've bought a number of businesses, like how limited do you think is the downside on some of these roll-ups? Like, is there a way for people to buy companies and just botch the integration and the actual like AI enablement so bad that the company goes from being worth like $25 million doing some niche thing in
1 + 1 is 0.5.
yeah. Or to just like,
I think 1 + 1 could equal zero plenty of time. And frankly, it can equal less than zero because look, it depends what you're buying. It depends what the space is. The more reliant you are on a personality in these roll-ups, I think the greater the risk. If this is like a single proprietor who maintains all these really tight relationships and the whole thing rests with them, and if you don't keep them happy, you risk like the whole thing, burning down. That scares me. I do think there's probably places where you can go and throw stuff together. The reality is there's a lot of money in PE that knows how to roll stuff up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are not.
Yeah, that venture is going to do this better than the folks that have done this forever.
Yeah. The one thing you can imagine venture doing better is the technology, but there's also the financial engineering and actually buying
And just managing
companies. And we have a friend who raised a PE fund, and is he's getting close to doing his first deal, but the number of amazing opportunities that look amazing that he's ultimately turned down to finally get to the point where he's doing the first deal, and you realize like somebody who's never acquired a company before coming in and just like looking at everything, and everything looks great if you just have like a capital hammer and you just want to hit it with with a bunch of hit the asset with a bunch of AI, I do worry that some of these end up.
And how long are these advantages going to be around for? I mean, I think there's a version of 15 years ago, it's like we understand the internet and nobody else does, and then it was like we're going to go to the cloud first, or we're going to do mobile. Like, yes, AI is different, but like I can tell you, the traditional PE funds are not going to like totally fall asleep and like decide not to like embrace any new technology. And in 15 years, they're still going to be sitting on the wrong side of history. Yeah. Like there might be a window, but it's not going to be a big window.
Yeah, somebody should ask Orlando Bravo if he's heard of AI. He's like, wait, never heard of that.
Never heard of that. No, people are aware.
The competition will be intense.
This is great. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, great
to
hang out. I wish we had more time. Let's do it again soon. Thank you for hiring. Thank you for hiring and training up Dylan.
Oh yeah,
our president back in the day.
Dylan Abrascato.
Man,
yeah,
excited.
He's a big fan of yours. Yeah, and we're lucky to have him. So come back on again soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, we'll be in New York. We'll be at the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, come down to the New York Stock Exchange. Hang out with us. That'd be fun.
Join us there.
Anytime. And I'm going to be out your way later in the month. So I'll be
amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Great to hang.
Well, have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Let me tell you about Railway. Railway simplifies software deployment. Web apps, servers, and databases run in one place with scaling, monitoring, and security built in. We have Lucas Atkins from Archie AI coming into the TBPN Ultradome. Lucas, how are you doing?
Here he is.
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for hopping on the show. First time on the show, can you please give us an introduction on yourself and the company?
Yeah. My name's Lucas Atkins. I'm the CTO at RCAI. We actually changed our logo so that it like highlights the R.
I have text. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
And we've, for a very long time been a startup focused on like enterprise.
Yeah.
Custom language models.
Yeah.
And we decided to jump into the pre-training game ourselves.
Pre-training. Okay, so small language models. I like small language models. It's the large ones that scare me. But tell me, how small are these? How much? What is the training budget? Can you give me like a GPT-2 level training run, GPT-3 level training run? Like try and ground. Am I looking at the data center from space? Or is it something, a little cluster in a closet? Can you train it on a Mac Mini? What are we talking about?
It used to be, that any small model, but a small language model, right, was, tens of millions of parameters, right? Yeah. Now it's in the realm of, I would consider anything under 50 billion kind of resting in that smaller world. But
so small is big has gotten enormous.
Yeah, exactly. And it's only going to get more and more as, RAM. Well, I don't know, but as people get more RAM and as we're able to fit more on our machines. But we historically lived in that kind of 50 sub range. And then we also... We like trained on top of other open source models like Llama, like Mistral, Quen.
Is that fine tuning or distilling? Is there a difference there that's meaningful to what you do?
There's an open debate as to whether fine tuning from like another model's just like text outputs is distilling. Or if you actually have to like grab it from the the logits. But I would argue that it's all distilling. So it's all some form of making a model better by using another model to make it better.
And is there a sort of power law distribution in applications of SLMs? Like, is it like, translation is just like everyone's using that, or text extraction, OCR? Like, is there sort of a power law of like what it can, when you reach for this tool in particular?
It used to be up until about a year ago. It was you were pretty confined to. You could hill climb a specific domain. Obviously it ranges based on how big your model was, or small rather. But after this kind of like reinforcement learning revolution of the last year, if you can build a task and an environment to like have that model live and breathe and learn inside of, you can hill climb. You can take like. There's people that are taking 100 million parameter models and making them perform like 5 or 6 billion parameter models from a couple of years ago. So it used to be a lot harder. Now it's all about, it's a lot more taste and task driven.
Yeah, and when you say perform like, it feels like the true cutting edge frontier model sort of smokes all the domain specific models, but it's expensive, and so how important is cost? What sort of cost reductions are you seeing on the inference side once a company or a developer decides to move from the heavyweight frontier model to something smaller?
It is very often when they're going into production, right?
Okay.
Like it's like they've done prototyping with a large closed source model. They've had success with it. They've gotten approval. They want to bring it into production, to more consumers or their customers, and then the bill starts to hit and the margins start to look tricky. So that's when they start looking for ways that they can host it themselves. There's also like the compliance and data privacy aspect of it, and that's something that kind of sovereign US based open models have stopped kind of being released. It's very much out of China. You have a few in Europe, but it has very much been lacking in the United States. So I was hoping to release this before I got on the show, but today we're finally releasing our 400 billion parameter model. So we went up pretty big.
There we go.
Congratulations.
You still got plenty of day left.
That's great.
You still got plenty of day left.
You're like, we're still.
This is just a preview.
So take us through the landscape of who you're competing with. Set the table for us. Most people will be familiar with DeepSeek, Qwen. How are these companies resourced? Is this just China's national interest that they're funding these? Do they have good business flywheels at this point? Because I imagine you have a plan to sort of unseat them in the open source race.
There's a lot of rumors about how all of this capital gets allocated into these different companies, but at
Give
the
us
end of
the
the day,
rumors.
Hedge funds.
Well, there's rumors that the government's giving it to them. They have favorites. There's shady deals going on, but the reality of it is,
you're saying they didn't train the models with scraps in a cave?
In a cave?
No.
No. Well, actually, frankly, if you look at kind of the horsepower that we're dealing with, a lot of them, seemingly did. It's very impressive, and that's kind of the, you want there to be this kind of battle of the U.S. versus China in this race. That obviously plays into our incentives. However, these are extremely talented labs, and so when I'm not competing against China or other countries for open weight, sovereign language models that people can own and deploy themselves. I'm competing against the other researchers there, that human being, and you have some extreme talent. So yes, it used to be really hard to make money making open source models. As they got bigger and as they got harder for other people to host themselves, the systems and the economics started to work out because they get the community buy-in and excitement of something being open source. But if it's a trillion parameters, your average consumer is not going to be able to run that on their toaster, right? So it ends up, you kind of get this win-win situation. And now that has kind of started to flywheel, they've started to do the OpenAI and the Anthropic and the Google Play, where they're building products around it, and it's really becoming a very lucrative ecosystem.
Yeah. How are you scaling the business? What have you chosen in sort of the business model world? There's so many ways that you can build around open source technologies. What's working, and what are you thinking about the roadmap long term?
We were in kind of a very fortunate position when it came to this. We had always been customizing models for people. We had always been working for enterprises, developers, businesses. How can we make sure that they're getting the best out of their own hardware? The only thing that really changed was that when customers wanted something to be based in the United States or from the United States, there stopped being competitive options.
Sure.
And we never really liked the idea that the foundation of our business relied on other people releasing models.
Yeah.
So it was like 6 months ago that we kind of fully decided, hey, you know what, let's try it.
Yeah.
And we had success with our first model, and then our second, our third, and it kind of brought us to this. So the economics of our business doesn't change so much. We're still working with customers. We're still delivering models and powerful tools, though we have a much more robust control of the stack, which means that the degree to which we can customize and the kind of period in training that we can go back to for those customers just kind of increases drastically. So,
yeah, just when I think of like open source focused company, I think like donations, people just like contributing for the
we
love
have
of the
like
game. I also think about like consulting, actually going in and a company paying you to do a custom implementation, work, improve. I also think about hosted services, consumption based plans, subscription based plans. How are you thinking that side of the business model will evolve, or where is it at now?
I would love for us to have like a GoFundMe or something, but no, it's very much the latter two. I think that services and consulting, obviously, if it's the right customer for the right product and the right situation, there's worlds where having a portion of your business be devoted to that's important. But the real moneymaker, and I think this has been seen out of those labs in China, out of others, is it's in the tooling. It's like, what are you building around it? How are you making it so that other people can customize it without you having to do services? How can you make it an easy API? How can you build a developer and education kind of suite around your software, that is uniquely benefited by your models, so that they can take it and using maybe hardware GPUs that you own, how can they go and train their own models? So there's many ways to turn this into something that is much more like automated and less services based. But at the end of the day, it all just comes down to getting the customer the right product.
Yeah. Who are your heroes in the open source space? Are you a Red Hat guy, a GitLab guy? What do you like?
Obviously, Red Hat, GitLab. I mean, I very much jumped into the open source space, like in open source AI.
Sure.
So like as much as I guess they're now a huge competitor of ours. Mistral is huge. The OG Llama team.
Yeah.
DeepSeek, Quint, like these very people.
Yeah.
That they inspired me to try to compete with them. So it's kind of this very.
They inspired you to grind harder, and we appreciate it.
Really. Yeah.
Hit that bald eagle sound. Thank you so much for coming on the show to break it down.
Yeah, great
congratulations on all the progress, and congratulations.
We'll be
on
looking at what's the timeline here? You think you'll get it?
It was supposed to be earlier. We got some GPUs didn't want to load up, so it'll be here.
We're going to be live for a couple more hours. Ping us.
Come into the chat on X or
come
YouTube
in the chat when it's
drops,
officially
we'll
launched.
talk about it.
And we'll
we'll let you know.
Thank you so much
Awesome.
for hopping
Great.
on the stream.
Great.
We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Goodbye. Let me tell you about Sentry. And I need to find Sentry. There we go. Sentry shows developers what's broken and helps them fix it fast. That's why 150,000 organizations use it to keep their apps working. We got to talk about this. Plant Daddy. We got to get him on the show.
Exposing his local coffee shop. He says, a friendly reminder that my local coffee shop is running a bot farm to boost engagement. I'm talking a very small business. Imagine at a country scale, if you're still responding, reposting anonymous accounts with zero vetting, you're being used like the idiot you are.
This is crazy. Yeah, so there's this video, and this local coffee shop, his favorite local coffee shop, has a bot farm set up in their back room to boost Instagram engagement specifically.
Does this person not know that you can just...
Also, why did he let Kevin back there to video this? And like OPSEC at this coffee shop is atrocious. If you're doing, look at the fan at the end. If you scroll to the end of this video, you can see that there's just a fan blowing on all the phones. You see this fan right there? That is crazy.
This seems like such an insane thing to spend money or time on.
That's what I was about to say. What is the ROI here? So they get an extra 50, maybe 100 likes and comments on every post. And is that enough to drive, this looks like thousands of dollars of equipment. They're selling more coffee because...
It's a lot of iPhones.
It is. Well, I think they're probably Android because they need to be USB-C'd in and controlled.
Right.
So it's a little bit more
Yeah,
open
seems like a total waste of time. I've never gone to any of my local coffee shops
because of Instagram.
Instagram accounts
that you know of. This is what advertising doesn't work on me, bro. Advertising doesn't work on me.
I love your coffee, but the engagement here
it's too low. I don't know. Well, I would love to know what that proprietor, what that store owner thinks about the ROI on that
I've noticed
platform.
on some posts recently that are kind of outside of the sort of tech bubble.
Yeah.
I'll scroll through and look at the comments, and every single comment is AI.
Okay.
Like just straight up.
Yeah, not copy pasted.
Not copy pasted, but clearly it's like an AI that's just like responding,
and it's just
nothing,
loosely riffing on it,
loosely
just adding engagement.
Like
it seems so easy to set up.
Isn't that. It's this.
No. It's happening more and more. Anyway, let's move on. We have Bridget Mendler from Northwood Space. She's the co-founder and CEO, returning to the show. It's been just under a year, but she's back. Bridget, great to see you. How are you doing?
In a much bigger facility.
Yeah, what's going on over at Northwood? Break it down for us.
It's good. We are sorry, we just turned on. I just started blasting 80s music in the office.
Amazing.
But we're good. This is being on the manufacturing floor lifestyle at Northwood. And yeah, we are announcing our Series B fundraise.
Amazing. How much did you raise?
Yeah.
$100 million.
100. Even.
Nice round number.
Not a cent more, not a cent less.
And some other numbers too.
Yes.
Yes, some other numbers. Yeah.
More importantly.
That's right. Exactly. Customer is key. We raised 49.8 in a contract with the. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of background noise. But yeah.
More background noise.
$49.8 million contract with the Space Force.
Congratulations.
Amazing.
That is amazing. Talk about the actual progress. I mean, I remember hearing about this from Delian when it was like just an idea. And then I think I saw a video maybe with Jason Carmen, the first deployment. You were building this. Like, what is the scale of the deployment? How are you? I mean, you're in a manufacturing space. How many people are working there? Or how many of these things are you building? Explain this to us.
Yeah. We're at our 35,000 square foot manufacturing facility now. I think we moved in here thinking this was going to be a long-term home for us, but as I'm sure a bunch of these companies say, it fills up really fast.
Yep.
We have had a busy year. It's been a year of, going from early concept with some exciting problems that we were looking to solve on the ground side. We're looking to address scaling up communications to a bunch of different orbits, really pushing the boundaries on where you can take dynamic space capabilities. Our phased array was really well aligned with that. So we kind of built out the solution and we took it through to deployment. We can successfully say that now we have actually done production on 8 portal units. They were produced in this factory in the span of 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We shipped them out, actually got shipped out on a commercial airliner to its destination halfway around the world, and was up and running as soon as it hit the site within 12 hours. So all in all, from the time of our contract signature to actually being ready to take satellite passes is a 3-month time period. So we're excited by that milestone.
And walk me through sort of like the I've seen these memes of like you ask a question on Google and it takes you through you go through the fiber optic cable, you go to the base station, you go to the cell tower. Like, walk me through the actual use case from someone trying to use the internet and then interfacing like Northwood is in the chain somewhere. Like, what is the full chain?
No, that's a really great question, because a lot of the ground equation has been kind of these fragmented pieces, right? Like, I can imagine it's confusing. It's like, oh, there's this one piece of hardware, whether it's a phased array or a parabolic or whatever.
Yeah.
How does that fit in with, me making use of internet through space?
Yeah.
And the real point for us is that we are saying space companies shouldn't have to consider the ground equation when they're running their own business. They shouldn't be trying to navigate, land leases in all of these countries around the world to make contact with their spacecraft. What Northwood does is we own the entire stack. So we handle from the moment that there's a contact made with the spacecraft all the way to the point of presence somewhere around the world that a spacecraft operator has themselves hosted, that entire chain. So that includes hardware, that includes modem, that includes network backhaul, that includes software interfaces, APIs, and the actual control plane for moving that data. That's kind of a stack end to end on ground that hasn't been managed by a third party ground provider before. And so that's what gets us excited, because when we take on that big chunk of the pie, we actually free up a lot of mental bandwidth and speed for space companies.
So for a space company, they're putting a satellite in orbit for some reason, whatever they're doing. When are they calling you? When are they making sure that they're compatible or ready to integrate? Is that presumably before launch, but do they need to do anything special on the actual satellite?
Hopefully they're
bus?
not calling
They're like,
after their existing solution.
We just took
down.
off, and I'm hoping you can connect us.
Help us make contacts.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you move into an apartment, and then you call Spectrum like after, and you're like, I don't have internet for 2 weeks
Yeah, like
now.
here we are,
Yeah.
contactless. But no, I mean, that's a little bit like the situation with the satellite control network with the U.S. government right now.
Yeah.
These are for satellites that are already live and
Okay.
operating. That's what our contract is against. It ranges for a ton of functions. So every launch that takes place in the U.S. Runs
That's
through
how you know.
satellite
Sorry
control
to
network.
interrupt.
Sorry,
Your
there's just
facility's
somebody-
big because your team is scootering around. In the
It is big. You went lying about 35,000 square feet.
We have a lot of
I love
passion
it.
for our scooters here. Very,
It's nice
very
smooth
key.
floors. Anyway, sorry.
It's a great ride. But yeah, so it serves a ton of missions, and more missions are getting launched every day, and so that puts additional strain on capacity.
Yeah.
So for us, for instance, in that contract, they're calling saying, "Hey, we need more capacity. We are needing you to plug in with where we route our data." So we just hand them an API, and that's how they interface with it.
Yeah.
So they can just connect with the API. Satellites keep doing what they have been doing, sometimes for decades.
Yeah.
And then when their new satellites launch, they can also use that same interface. So trying to make it as clean and simple as possible.
Yeah.
What does your pipeline look like? Like I imagine you're talking to a bunch of companies that are planning to get various satellites up in on the 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Like how many? Like are you feeling like an acceleration? Is kind of what I'm getting at in terms of like more mass to orbit.
Yes, big time. We do get a lot of customer inbound, and I think like that's a large part of our raise for us. It's like, hey, we need to be able to expand and grow so that we can service all these important missions. I think an important piece of our passion for what we do is around serving diverse and ambitious missions. So a lot of our missions look pretty different. So for our recent capability we're working on with Space Systems Command, that looks like dynamic spacecraft movement, being able to hit multiple different orbits and those kinds of capabilities. There are also communications constellations where, they have more of that networking backhaul use case that I described to you. There's other ones that we work with that are more interested in timely imagery. And so for us, what makes us excited is being the ground expert that thinks about that with them from, some of those conversations we have are extremely early where like we're asking them questions and learning about their system and they'll say, we haven't thought that far yet. And so we get to be the partner from that very early stage to bringing the constellation online and really being the one that holds the accountability for that. So we get excited by kind of the diversity of the space industry. I'm sure, you guys are hearing about all the different use cases even that popped up this past year. We're talking about
I'm
the
sure,
moon or, data centers in space and the
data
like.
center, some space data center players are probably calling you being like, hey, in 10 years, I'm going to have a lot of GPUs in space.
Yeah.
But let's condense that timeline. Let's condense that timeline on all of the ideas. Like, why not? Space is an exciting frontier to push forward on.
Yeah. What else are you tracking in launch costs, actual cost of mass to orbit? That feels like a key barometer for the health of the space industry broadly. Is that progressing according to your thesis when you started the company? Or are you ahead of plan? Obviously, it doesn't directly matter for what you do, but obviously it does in many ways because you're downstream of that entire economy. Is that the right even metric to be looking at if you're monitoring the space economy?
I mean, I think the economics of space have been something that have been challenging historically.
Yeah.
You need to be able to make a profitable business off of space. And so I think there's been a number of dominoes that have fallen in favor of that, whether that be improved launch costs and, dropping to new levels in that and other pieces of the space infrastructure stack. I think, what we're building, we're also interested in making that more affordable. I think the proof is kind of just in dreams that people are dreaming up and actually putting real dollars behind now. So, it's one thing to talk about some ambitious space concept. It's another thing to put like real dollars behind it and a real timeline against it. And so for us, like that's what we want to enable, is that like concept to reality timeline, like condensing that, making that more possible. Surprisingly, the ground actually takes longer to build than it does to build the spacecraft and launch it in a number of different instances. And so that's just silly. Like, let's be the enabler instead.
Yeah. Can you help me understand deploying ground stations globally? Are there treaties for this type of thing? Do you call other governments? Are you active in other countries? Like, I imagine that, there are obviously some, I guess, like geostationary orbits that just orbit over the U.S., but if my satellite's on the other side of the Earth, I probably want to talk to it. How do you solve that? What's involved? What's the rollout like?
No, totally. We have an entity in a number of different countries. We have entities on, I think, like 3 or 4 continents at this point.
Okay.
So you basically need to establish the business there. You need to work with the local governments across a bunch of different dimensions. I think personally, that's something that I think is really exciting to support with the space industry, right? Like a lot of countries are really passionate about pushing their space capabilities forward. And so for us to be able to have them be a part of a larger mission as we build out our big network, but also to support what their ambitions are with space is something I feel interested in. And then from a logistics standpoint, I think that's like a key case in point for why, if you set out to build a space mission, why do you have to go, create entities, land leases, local regulatory? It's just a totally different business. And so I think, that's something that we are very happy to be burdened by.
Yeah, on the regulatory side, are you interfacing with NASA or the FCC? What does that look like? And then does the regulatory architecture that's put in place in the U.S. sort of carry forward into other countries?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's some pieces of it that do cross over internationally. We deal with the International Telecommunications Union for certain pieces of it. Depends on which direction you're talking about, from space to ground or ground to space. And then the FCC is really the main regulatory body domestically, but they need input from NASA. They need input from a bunch of other government stakeholders. So a lot of folks weigh in when it comes to spectrum, which is for nerdy folks like me, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
What is the main bottleneck, if anything? It's surprising to hear some of the timelines you're talking about on the hardware side. You said 4 weeks to make and ship out the hardware and get it in production. Feels fast. What is, like, where are you trying to speed up?
Ground is like such a multivariable problem. It comes down to supply chain for sure. It comes down to deployment, like what is actually efficient and easy to ship to anywhere around the world. It comes down to licensing and a whole host of other regulatory approvals. So for us, like that's why we find that it's really useful to be vertically integrated, because we can actually think of those constraints at every different piece along the chain. So, when we see a bottleneck, like, hey, there's this supply chain limitation, we get to design around that and think about how that fits into the overall system. So I think we've been coordinating all of those pieces well so far. New challenges are going to continue to pop up, but I think that comes down to just having a team that is multidisciplinary.
Yeah. I want to know more about the use of funding, $100 million fundraise, obviously more hiring and more acceleration broadly, but are there any pieces of equipment that you're going to be buying for manufacturing? Is there a robotic arm that you've been hovering over the checkout button and now you're clicking it, or a CNC machine? What will transform about the actual manufacturing process with this raise?
Yeah. Like getting concrete.
Concrete. There we go.
Yeah, I think, well, actually, that's interesting.
Literally buy concrete?
No,
maybe.
Old ground companies do need to buy a ton of concrete.
Yeah, because the pad, right, that you actury put it on, right?
Exactly. You have settling time. Just let the concrete dry. Yeah. That's a whole factor in the equation. But yeah, for us, it's really about a new scale of production. So, we've demonstrated this end-to-end process for smaller scale of missions. Now it's okay. cool. Can you do that at a larger scale reliably? And so that comes down to, like you said, bringing some stuff in house.
Yeah.
So that's our PCB line, for instance. That's something that we're interested in bringing in house.
Oh, okay.
We have different testing fixtures that we have in house. We have a big anechoic chamber over here.
Oh yeah. Wow.
That's cool. So
good podcast studio too, right? Isn't it like dead quiet in there? Right?
It's true. It
there
is.
You go.
It's kind of I'm tempted to show you, but anyway.
No, it's all right.
But
it will
yeah,
probably cut the Wi-Fi out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
it would
you
cut
can't
the
go in
Wi-Fi out.
The audio quality would be
hazardous.
great, but we
wouldn't
lose
be
the
able to hear
connection.
you.
So
Pristine. But yeah, we're going to be moving into a bigger space as well, so that we can accommodate more production volume. Also inventory. This stuff takes up a lot of space, a lot of hardware. We're moving it through rapidly. We're looking to hit a rate of 12 units per month for one product line, and then another volume for another product line.
Very good news.
There you go. So yeah, that's some of the expenses.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Fantastic progress.
To come chat with us. Yeah, remarkable progress in under a year. I can't wait for the next one. We will see you soon.
Yeah, congrats to the whole
team. Have a great
team.
rest of your
Thanks,
day.
Very
well,
cool.
Good to chat.
Good to
All
see
right.
you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Cheers.
Let me tell you about Gusto, the unified platform for payroll, benefits, and HR, built to evolve with small and medium-sized businesses. And without further ado, should we bring
Who we got? We got Jeff.
Jeff Miller. It's Miller time. We got Jeff Miller
Filling
from
in
Anderl.
for Palmer.
Second time. You're the first repeat live in-person guest in the Ultradome.
Friend of the fam.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the Ultradome.
Appreciate it.
Second
Dude,
time.
how do we get one of these?
Look
where
at this.
People are always asking us for jackets.
Whoa, yeah.
I'll trade you a jacket for a tiny gold plaque here.
Okay.
Somewhere in the
Yeah. This is a record. This is a record.
Love it.
Yeah, fantastic jacket. Those are going to be flying off the shelf. Get us up to speed on the Anderl merch store. I mean, you were doing some you did like an auction on eBay. Take us through.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, Jen Bucci and I were cooking on this.
Former
just last week.
TBPN guest.
TBPN legend.
She's been on here.
So the way we're thinking about the gear store, and this is something, by the way, we talk often with our pal Trey also, is that we're thinking about ways that for our friends, we can bring them into Anderl. So beyond just following us on X or watching our videos on YouTube, that they can participate in the brand in a way that they would want to. So we're going to be leaning into it hard this year with NASCAR as a platform, with Ohio State, with every campaign that we do. We're going to have some staples like the flight jacket that will become much more easily accessible, I should say. And then we're going to find some items that we'll just call high heat items that we're already cooking on. And the closest thing I can say is you think about what we did with the chromatic, our friends at Mod Retro, and pulling that into an Anderl edition, what we're going to do with the M64. Think along that vein. So when those come, be ready because they're not going to last long.
Okay. Take us through the racing update. NASCAR's coming up, but you're also going to be racing drones now?
Yeah,
break it down
absolutely.
for us.
Hey, why not?
Yeah.
So, of course, we've got NASCAR. We're just about 150 days out. I expect to see both of you guys on the
race on the base
on June 21st. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Are we going to be able to be on the carrier? What's going? Will there be a carrier there? They're needed.
I can't speak for the
elsewhere.
Navy, but it's in the works.
They don't answer me.
There may be one or multiple carriers on board, and we'll see what we can do.
Cool.
But the big thing I'd say is, as we think about our partnership strategy broadly, we have, as we talked about last time, something that is broad gen pop that crosses over with our core audiences in defense and military, like the Anderl 250 with NASCAR. We have something that's tied very clearly to where we have a manufacturing footprint with Ohio State. We're well on our way to building out Arsenal 1, as Grim spoke about last week, hiring those 5,000 jobs that we committed to. The important thing, I think, for us is making sure that we still stay true to who we are across all these things. So I think about it as a spectrum. And if that's about general population or how we work our ways into communities, at the core, we are an engineering company. That autonomy, if you think about it, has been at the core to this date of everything that we build. And so we want to make sure we have something that is not just a marketing play, something that feels much more about recruiting and standing for those values around autonomy. And so what is really just bringing you into the world of how this came to be, once we got the commitment from Palmer and the other execs that we were going to do the Anderl 250 in Ohio State, Palmer said, Jeff, I'll let you do those things. But what you're going to do is build me a global AI drone racing league. And I'm like, please tell me more, Palmer. I'm like, drone racing league? He's like, no. All the drones have to be the same. The only differentiator is the software, is the code, the
That's
ability
very
to
cool.
build autonomy. And so that's what we've been working on since.
Yeah, so the idea here is people know they're going to be racing drones. We have goalposts here. I can imagine like something like that. They know they're going to have to be flying a route,
that's
like
exactly
a
right.
track, but I'm assuming they don't know what the track would actually look like until race day. So they have to actually build.
It's going to be amazing. Like, so the way we're doing this is we're working first and foremost with the Drone Champions League, which is the foremost operator of AI drone racing in the world. So we've got them as our official race operator, and we're working off of the model that they've built and they've tested and forged like a really viable path. So it starts with virtual qualifiers. Anyone can compete in these virtual qualifiers.
It's a simulator.
It's a simulator, exactly.
Okay.
And that will lead to a physical qualifier where you're going to have gates that you have to go through. And the top teams that qualify, both from the university level and across the globe, because it's going to be an open competition, those will qualify for the first official AIGP in Columbus, Ohio. And there, you're going to have time to prep, refine your code leading up to the actual race day, and that's where all systems go.
Yeah, what do you think the average team will look like? I'm thinking back to like the DARPA Grand Challenge. I don't know if that was inspiring at all, but the the teams from there, mostly academic teams, if I remember. What do you think the mix will be? Have you already talked to teams? How's that going?
So we've done a lot of research on the approach to this. The clear mandate from our friend Palmer was this is open to anyone.
To anyone.
This is not just 18 to 22-year-olds. And there was a point we were talking about like how can children race in this, right?
Tesla, children, but also like the Tesla team, the Waymo team. They're going to be like, let's just win.
And so what I give our team incredible credit for.
Also the big primes. Let them.
Hey, the big primes think that they can race.
They have an opportunity here to do the funniest thing ever.
If a Chinese national thinks they can come in here and race and win this, let's go. And that will prove something there in its own right. Is our capabilities in the West relative to China?
I mean, all the LLMs are on
the DJI factory
not
team
router,
is like, okay. But
I think the things that are most important is at the core, we are using this as a recruiting effort. Thinking about cracked engineers, especially at that university level. We've done incredible diligence on the legal side to make sure when we say things like 500K prize pool, that it's eligible for anyone to race, that you could win a job at Anduril. All those things are done in a legally compliant and thoughtful way. And I think most importantly, that we're setting a standard with our partner in hardware, your friend, Soren from Neros, that we are using incredible technology that's going to have clear chain of custody here in the States.
Dude, we got to get Soren to fly a drone in here. You've never seen him fly a drone in person?
Not live.
So Soren Monroe Anderson from CEO of Neros and founder. He was, I believe, like a champion drone, FPV drone.
Drone
one of the
champion,
greatest
also
ever.
competed in the DCL as well.
Yeah, and so he puts on this, I went out with Ben. Ben actually filmed it in El Segundo, and he's like, I do a little like factory tour with him. He has a very small office at that point in time. The company had just got off the ground. He's like, let's walk to this park. I'll show you how these drones work. And I've seen like a DJI camera drone like take off and it hovers and it maybe like does a little selfie zoom out or whatever. His drones, it's a completely different level. It takes off and it's the most aggressive. It's the F1 car of drone racing. And he puts on these glasses, the FPV goggles, and they're like CRT TVs. They're like high refresh rate, pretty low res actually. But he's like flying around this tree like as fast as I can possibly see. Doesn't crash anything. Flies up, back, right in your face, all around you. It's crazy.
It's so true. And obviously at Anduril, we know a thing or two about making drones. And we have great respect for Soren and the Neros team. And what's a funny story, this is the first time I was here in person at the Ultradome. You know who your guest was directly before me?
It was Soren.
It was Soren.
That's right.
And you guys asked him. I was laughing because you said, hey, have you guys ever thought about starting a drone race?
Oh, we did.
we had not talked to him yet.
No way.
We already were planning to. So I just dived into serendipity. All started right here in the Ultradome.
I love it. Yeah. So talk to me more about what it takes to actually deliver software on these drones, how standardized that is. I imagine you're not pulling in a frontier LLM and having it reason over this stuff.
Hold on, boss. I'm going to wait at this gate.
Yeah.
10 minutes of reasoning. I'm going to do a deep research report.
Let me fully understand the scope of the track. What give me anything on the technology side. Like, what are the parameters? What are the languages that people will use? Do you know anything about what people are planning?
The beauty is we're trying to keep the rules extremely simple.
Yes.
So the core focus is that everyone is going to have the same exact exact hardware.
Yeah.
We're working with Neros right now, and we'll be announcing this in a future date.
Okay.
The beauty too is like everyone's gonna have their own canopy. We're bringing in a little the spirit of NASCAR as we think about sponsors and like how you can
livery
build your own brand. And
we should sponsor a team.
Hey, we should.
TBPN.
This is really good.
This is happening. We're gonna have a TBPN their team. It just makes natural sense.
If you wanna race in this, hit us up.
You guys are ready. So we'll talk to you guys about how you bring your team together. But from a tech side, it really is, the beauty is that once you have the hardware, everyone is going to be able to be on an even footing to bring together whatever they want to do and however they want to do it. And where I think the real advantage will come when people spend time at the physical qualifier, show up there, break the thing 100 times. We talk about this at Andrew all the time. Fail, win. That's the way we think about it. And I think that model, that approach, that ethos applies here too.
So how do you keep a level playing field around hardware when drones are breaking and they are smashing? Is it like, you get an allotment of 5 and then you're out?
We'll have clear chain of custody.
Okay.
And all credit to DCL and Neros because they're controlling the hardware component. But we've planned out, and because of their experience, we know how many are going to break along the way. But there's not going to be any opportunity for anyone to be making mods beyond what we give them officially.
Okay,
that's very cool.
Yeah. Are there other, do you think people will have the ability to overclock motors? Because a lot of racing, of course, in NASCAR F1, it's like tire management, fuel stops in certain races. We just saw this with the Rolex 24.
Yeah, exactly.
At what level does it stay from just perception, doing simultaneous location and mapping, pathfinding, to actually understanding, I can push the drone harder, but then I'm running out of battery.
24-hour the endurance drone race.
Yeah, how many times do you change?
I think what you'll see is the battery is pretty lightweight, but for the distance of the race itself, you're going to have enough battery load.
Okay.
But it really will become to finding all these little ins and outs.
And there'll be risk. If you cut the corner a little bit closer,
how you're doing it, how you push it, understanding the hardware better than the next, and what risk you're willing to take. Exactly.
Interesting.
But for us, what I'd say here is really special is beyond the fact that we're starting in Columbus. We're already working with Palmer in 2 really interesting ways. We have plans to roll out the second GP in Asia. That'll be announced soon. The third GP in the Middle East. And the 4th one beyond in the globe. And right now we're starting with quadcopters. The important element of the AIGP is the autonomy. It's not the form factor. So just know that's something that could come to life underwater in different domains over time.
Whoa. Water would be cool. Feels harder to film and stuff, but could be really cool.
Well, let me just say that's the first of many domains Palmer's.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I want to see the tunneling ones.
Jordy said it, I did it.
That'd certainly be great. What do you think teams will look like? Are they unlimited amount of people? I can show up with 1,000
So you can show up as an individual. We think the teams that are going to be really successful are going to show up between 4 and 8 people. It's capped at 8 people.
2 pizza team.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the goal would be that we're talking to all the universities that are going to express interest. We have target universities at Andrew that really feed our pipeline of emerging talent. And those teams we're hoping to get really excited about this. We think the prize pool is going to be a real incentive, but also that opportunity to win a job at Andrew.
Yeah, and it's good resume builder, content, whatever, marketing. There's so many different ways.
It's interesting winning a job at Andrew when I think anybody that can get into the top 5. Probably every person on the team is qualified, or at least some percentage of them. So the pipeline, the talent pipeline is going to be very
It's going to be incredible. And also why our lawyer now has a lot more gray hair than he did a month ago. But the important...
doing any of these giveaway contest thing at scale, there's so much legal headache with it. It's not as simple as
exactly. But luckily for us, I think whether it's thinking about legal constraints for this, what our people at Andrew across divisions do is they see opportunity and they see how they can create solutions. But the thing that gets me excited is beyond whoever wins and earns the job is that every university team member that shows up to the qualifier, which is going to happen near our HQ in September, will get a screen directly by Andrew Recruiting. So if you're somebody that is interested in this, if you're somebody who's looking for an entry-level job or internship at Andrew, this is a great way to feed into our pipeline.
Yeah. Can you tell me more about the new Long Beach office? What's going on there?
Oh, man. Well, as somebody who lives in Venice, California, and works in Costa Mesa, can I just say I'm extremely happy that we have a Long Beach office coming? It's incredible. I mean, the story writes itself from Palmer's origin to where we are now.
Oh yeah, that's where the first what was it, the Airstream or something?
100%. He's living out of a van down by the river. Right?
That's actually true.
It's incredible to see it come full circle.
Down by the marina. It wasn't really a river.
Down by the river.
Yeah. It was
a cave. Any rivers in LA.
No, LA River is rough.
But it's really special.
Yeah.
The origin story,
Cool.
the fact that it's a reflection of our growth, our maturation, the engineering talent that we're going to be able to recruit, not just in Orange County, but now closer to LA.
Yeah.
And ultimately, whether you're working in SoCal, in Ohio or beyond, we're still going to be screening for the same thing. And that starts with the mission, the connection to what we're building.
Yeah. How big is the Orange County campus now? It's like
5,000 something.
Oh yeah.
Or sorry, no, the new
one's
campus.
5,000. The current one's a little smaller than that.
Okay.
But it's the type of thing that we're constantly building. You walk in there.
5,000 square feet. That's pretty big.
No, people that we're bringing in. Yeah.
5,000 square feet is like
but to be bringing over 1 million square feet to Long Beach and to be doing it directly with the mayor of Long Beach, who's been incredible, and his team, it's just been really cool to see come to life.
That's great. That's great.
Incredible.
What else is on the horizon on the marketing side for Anduril? Did you look at a Super Bowl ad? Super Bowl's coming up.
You know what?
What else did you look at?
So I'll tell you one thing. The core focus for us this year is absolutely showing the raw, the real, the product development, the failure affairs that lead to the wins, the hard work, the scalability that we're seeing is reflecting that story. So I think that's the important inflection point for us in 26.
Yeah.
It's going to be less about the highly produced go-to-markets, and it's going to be about, we told you we were building these things.
Yeah.
We are building them, and we're going to show you how hard it is to scale, but that we are up to the challenge. And when we talk about this internally, we talk about demonstrating to our customers that Anduril is not only the right choice, we are the safe choice, and we are the necessary choice for what our country needs. So that's the story we need to tell, and how we do that is going to be about great world-class product marketing that will likely look more transparent and raw than you've ever seen before. And then as we're thinking about working our way to public markets, it's about building the Anduril brand, and that could be through a drone race for recruits. It can be about a gear store or big major sports marketing platforms. But it won't be a Super Bowl commercial this year. In fact, this past weekend, we weren't at the NFL playoffs. I was at a UFC fight in Vegas, 324.
There we go.
I'll tell you that to me is much more of America and the audience that I think has high crossover to and connections with audiences that we see in NASCAR. And whether we do a partnership with them or not, I think the point is that we're looking to do things differently than traditional brands. And looking for partners that share our values and share our mission.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that on that, like, the story that you're telling around like delivery and scale and reliability and the safe option, does that mean visually you'll think you'll shift from product focused, this like look at this amazing cool thing that does this thing, to more of like highlighting what's happening at Arsenal, the manufacturing prowess, the scale? Is that the type of story that you're trying to focus on? Is that how this will be instantiated?
Those stories to me complement each other. What it means is we're going beyond a product go-to-markets where we're saying, hey, we're announcing this to the world, to thinking about the stages of development post-launch. We did a really great job of this as a team, I believe, with Omen. And we told why a tail sitter is so hard to produce. We tap back into the history of tail sitters across decades and what our engineers were able to accomplish to make Omen successful and all the rigorous testing that we did. We're going to start to do that more with all of our products, but that doesn't stop with testing. It's about fielding. It's about putting it in our customers' hands, and certainly it's about your point around manufacturing at scale. So that starts with Arsenal One. Why do we build it? The progress that we're making, the products that are scaling over time there, and showing that the promises that we've made, we're able to deliver on.
Very cool. Jordy, anything else?
No.
This
awesome
is fantastic.
Update.
Well, I have one other really
please.
important announcement. In the spirit of our friend intern Tyler,
oh yeah,
it's a special day for you. It's your birthday.
What?
I brought the first drink I had.
No way.
Oh, no way.
Smirnoff Ice.
Oh, incredible.
Also known as the nectar of life. So
the nectar of life.
Nectar of life.
Properly iced on the stream the first time ever.
Incredible.
People were talking about a BuzzBomb.
Dude, great to see you. You're the man. Ice. Well, this thing is huge.
That is a huge ice.
Why don't you? You're 21. You
crack
can
it open.
indulge, enjoy a sip of.
Nice. And I will tell.
Let's get the Tyler cam.
Tyler cam. We'll flip that around, and I will tell everyone about graphite. Oops, I just pushed Gusto. I'm sorry. First day on the board. Okay.
Yeah, John's got a new board.
I have a new board. Let's go with Graphite.
Here we go.
Is it going to work? Yeah, there we go. Code review for the age of AI. Graphite helps teams on GitHub ship higher quality software faster.
We love Graphite.
Hunter Weiss, friend of the show, sent me this video. He did a Call of Duty edit over Uber Eats Meal Team 6, New York City's elite special forces delivery unit. I wanted to take a look at this, the Meal Team 6.
How did he make this? Did he just walk outside?
Can we pull this up? Yeah, pull up audio. Look at this. He's a good editor. That's like this. This is great. Oh, he did the SD kid thing. Let's go. We're gonna get copyright strike for this, but it's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
Target acquired. Got eyes on target. Got a visual. I have a target. I got eyes on a target.
It is so crazy how much snow is happening. We haven't been following it all, but U.S. digs itself out from monster winter storm. People shoveled snow Monday in Boston, where over 17 inches of snow fell in the weekend storm that had nearly 200 million Americans under weather warnings. More than 710,000 households from Texas to Maine are still without power. That's very rough. Hopefully that resolves quickly. Did you ever live in the snow? Have you ever lived in anywhere where it gets cold?
Not.
Tyler's the expert.
Yeah.
How's Michigan doing? Have you checked in with
Michigan's
friends?
really. I don't know if they've.
Are people snowed in?
I thought it was a little bit further south. I thought it was like Tennessee's getting hit really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hate snow. It sucks. That's why I'm living here.
Where else should we go? We have our special guest joining in just
8 minutes.
8 minutes. There is a clip from a friend of the show, Ben Hylack. He attended the OpenAI interview with Sam Altman and
Town Hall.
Chief OpenAI hater Nick, of course, clipped it and put it in a negative context. He says, there's some quotes here, but let's pull up the question that Ben asked on this OpenAI stream.
Discourse on like Twitter and X recently about GPT-5's writing in ChatGPT and being a little unwieldy, hard to read. Obviously, GPT-5 is a much better agent model, really good tool use, intermediate reasoning, whatever. So it feels like models are a little bit spiky, or they've gotten even spikier, where some spikes like coding got super high, some spikes or it's very unspiky around writing. So I'm just kind of curious how OpenAI thinks about that feature.
I think we just screwed that up. We will make future versions of GPT 5.x hopefully much better at writing than 4.5 was. We did decide, and I think for good reason, to put most of our effort in 5.2 into making it super good at intelligence, reasoning, coding, engineering, that kind of thing. And we have limited bandwidth here, and sometimes we focus on one thing and neglect another. But I believe that the future is mostly going to be about very good general purpose models. Even if you're trying to make a model that's really great at coding, it'd be nice if it writes well too. Like if you're trying to have it be able to generate a full application for you, you'd like good writing in there. When it's interacting with you, you'd like it to have a sort of thoughtful, incisive personality and communicate clearly. Like good writing in the sense of clear thought, not like beautiful prose. So my hope is that we just push.
Nick's in the chat. Oh no, his ears are ringing.
Dimensions, and I think we will do that.
Okay, fair.
We just read, Nick.
You built a brand.
Read everything.
You built a brand. I mean, playing catch up now. I guess that's true. At least in Ben's perspective.
Wow, Nick puts John in the truth zone.
Truth zone. True. No. I mean, I was looking on Ella Marina, the leaderboard for text, and GPT 5.2 is 16th, like well below Gemini 3 Pro's number 1, Grok 4.1 Thinking's number 2, Gemini 3 Flash, Opus 4.5, Grok 4.1. GPT 5.1 High is in 9th, and then you have to go down to 5.2 to get 16th. You have to go down to 16 to get to 5.2. It is interesting seeing the spiky intelligence things kind of turned into a stat bar of like, where are you putting the points, the skill points or whatever, and they put too many of the points into.
I will
coding.
say
Do you
I
think?
don't want ChatGPT to fix their issues with writing. I don't want it to be. I now am at a point where I'm like, thank you for making it very easy to clock when something is written by AI.
I think that's totally like stated versus revealed preference. If you have like an incredible model that writes something that you find like super compelling. Obviously,
no, I'm talking about because people are using ChatGPT now to make scripts for videos. They're using it to do bots that are writing comments. And I know as soon as I can see something is just written by ChatGPT that I can just scroll past it and basically ignore it.
Yeah, sure, but imagine like in the far future where those comments are actually like, wow, this is like very insightful and thought-provoking, and I'm glad that I read this text. Like that's good.
Yeah. I think we can get there.
Also, so back in March, Sam tweeted that they trained a new model that is good at creative writing. That he released this whole story.
Yeah.
And I think they've never really released that. Maybe it got vended in somehow. To one
or
of the
like
models.
distilled a little bit, but there were trade-offs clearly, and it does seem like they.
And I'm not sure that they actually did end up releasing.
Yeah, I mean the really interesting thing, to apologize and steal Nick's point here, is that. Like, should ChatGPT be focused on coding? Certainly in the how are they going to compete with Clawdbot? They need a really great coding model. We'll talk to our guest in just a minute about how he's using 5.2.
He's ready.
He's ready. So let's bring him in from the Restream waiting room. We have Peter Steinberger from Moltbot.
The man of the hour.
How are you doing? Thank you so much for staying up late. What time is it for you?
It's 11.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
PM for everybody that's just
Yes,
tuning
11
in.
p.m.
11 p.m.
So I'd love to kick it off with just a brief background on when you started this project, a little bit of your career, how you're thinking about it going forward, and then I have a million questions.
This was your very first project ever, right?
Yeah. First time coding, right?
No, we were enjoying a screenshot of your GitHub profile earlier and just seeing like how many different things.
An overnight success.
A true overnight success.
Yes.
But we're super excited to have you here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to be here as well. I don't know. I worked for my own software company for 13 years, and then I sold it about 4 years ago. Then I was completely burned out. I did like. I mean, it's TV, but still, I did blackjack and hookers.
Wild. Well, we're glad you're back in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what they say, like for every 4 years, you need like 1 year break, and I did like 13 years nonstop. So like 3 years, the math kind of checks out.
Okay.
And then last year, now 2016, in April, at some point, my spark was back.
Yeah.
Because before I was sitting on my computer, and I don't know if you've seen Austin Powers, but it felt like someone sucked my mojo out.
Sure.
But yeah, I had time to recover. I came back in April, and I wanted to do something new. My background was like a lot of Apple and iOS, and I'm a little bit fed up. I wanted to build web stuff, and I didn't have the experience. I didn't want to feel like an idiot. So I looked into AI, and it was good. It was not great, but it was good. And I was like, why is nobody talking about it, And I feel like because I missed those 3 years where it was really bad, and I came back just at the time that Cloud Code was released, February in beta?
Yeah.
So this was my first experience. I was like, this is pretty awesome. And then I couldn't sleep anymore. Like I literally had trouble. I had trouble going to bed. Like we had like addiction before, and then like we had addiction again.
But a positive one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would say so. And I hooked up a lot of my friends for looking into AI as well, and they had the same problem. And I texted them at like 4 a.m. and they replied. I even started a meetup. That's where I come from. I called it Cloud Code Anonymous. Now it's called Agents Anonymous because you have to go with the times.
Sure.
And yeah, ever since then I That's what I say on my profile. I came back from retirement to mess with AI.
Yeah.
And I'm having loads of fun.
That's great.
I love it.
Well,
maybe walk us through some of the other stuff that you shipped and worked on prior to this, and even just kind of like your mindset working on these different projects. I'm assuming at different points you would think that some would get more traction than others, but it would probably be impossible to have predicted in some ways that this would have gone from almost to the point. The reason that this is so wild is I'm seeing people on Instagram that like I don't think of as people that like follow tech at all, and they're at the Apple store getting a Mac Mini. So it feels like it just went almost, it broke containment like incredibly quickly, and you see the GitHub stars are like, actually, I've never seen a chart like this. Everybody loves to show their charts, but the chart is actually unbelievable. It's just a line going straight up.
I need to talk to someone at GitHub because I don't think there's been a project before that's been like straight.
It's crazy.
It is batshit insane.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, my main mantra is I want to have fun. You know, like. The best way to learn these new technologies is if you have fun with it. You have to play with it. So I build little things that I think could be useful. I tried different languages. I tried different approaches. It's agentic engineering. I don't like the word vibe coding so much. I always make the joke. I do agentic engineering, and then when it starts hitting 3 a.m., I switch to vibe coding, and then next day I have regrets.
Yeah.
You should have just gone to sleep, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes that's hard. But then I just built little things. I had this idea about personal agents in May already. And I tried, it was like the time that GPT-4.1 was out. And it was just not good enough. And then I thought, well, all the big companies will build this in the next few months anyhow. So I was like, why the F should I do that? You know, I was just gonna wait and they make it better.
Yeah.
And then I built out, I built a lot of stuff. There's like one project that is still unfinished that I at some point want to finish. And I built a lot of CLIs because that's where agents are really good. You know, you have to close the loop. That's always the secret. You have to build it so that the agent has the best possible way to build software. And that's the secret a little bit. I tried a lot of stuff, and then in November, I looked, and still there was nothing. Like, where is my fucking agent?
Yeah.
I had a little project in May. I spent 2 months on it. It started as a joke because I did a hackathon with 2 friends, and we were like, what can we build that could be kind of cool? Wouldn't it be cool if I could use Claude Code from my phone?
Yeah.
It's kind of like. It's something that everybody builds. I see this like every day. Like by now, I almost call it like this is like one step in your journey in becoming a good agentic engineer. Is you're gonna build some shitty orchestration tool for yourself because it's fun and you think,
yeah, bridge.
And I built that for 2 months, and then I had to stop because it became so good that I was out with my friends, but literally it was my phone like using Claude Code to like. Work on this thing, and it's like, oh, this is bad for my mental health.
Yeah.
It's already bad, and now like I'm literally building something to have better access to my drugs.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people using Claude Code on laptops as they get off of airplanes because they're so locked in, they just have to send one more, and that's like the clearest sign that like you need a bridge in a phone involved.
Yeah, no, but also like, you know, like this feeling when your agent's not running. Like right now there's like 2 terminals that you could be building something, right? So
yeah.
So if you're in this addiction mode, you almost feel like
if you need to step out for 10 seconds and fire off.
Feel free to take a break. We can do an ad read.
There's still some drama that I'm finishing. But anyhow, so in November, I don't know. You know, I wake up every day. I'm like, okay, what do I want to work on now? What would be cool? And then there was like, okay, I want to chat with my computer on WhatsApp because if my agents are not running, and then I go to the kitchen, I want to check up on them, or like I want to like do little prompts.
Yeah.
So I just hacked together some WhatsApp integration that literally receives a message, calls Claude Code, and then returns what Claude Code returns, one shot. And it took like 1 hour, and it worked. I was like, well, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I usually use prompts, like a little text and an image. Because images are like, they often give you so much context, and you don't have to type so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is like one of the hacks where you can prompt faster, just like make a screenshot. So the agents are really good at figuring out what you want. So I hacked together images. And then I was on a trip in Marrakesh with like a weekend birthday trip.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself using this like way more than I saw, but not for programming. It's more like, hey, there's like restaurants, because it had Google in it, and it could figure out stuff. And it's like, especially when you're on the go, it's like super useful. And then I wasn't thinking, I was just sending it a voice message, but I didn't build that. There was no support for voice messages in there. So the reading indicator came, and I'm like, oh, I'm really curious what's happening now. And then after 10 seconds, my agent replied as if nothing happened. I'm like, how the F did you do that? And it replied, yeah, you sent me a message, but there was only a link to a file with no file ending. So I looked at the file header. I found out that it's Opus, so I used FFmpeg on your Mac to convert it to Wave. And then I wanted to use Whisper, but didn't have it installed, and there was an install error. But then I looked around and found the OpenAI key in your environment, so I sent it via curl to OpenAI, got the translation back, and then I responded. And that was like the moment where like,
wow, yeah,
it's like, that's where it clicked. These things are like damn smart, resourceful beasts if you actually give them the power.
Sure.
And then I was kind of hooked. Like I did all kinds of weird stuff. Like I used it as alarm clock. I let it migrate to my computer in London, but then it used SSH to log into my MacBook and turn up the volume to wake me up in the morning. I think I built world's most expensive alarm clock.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it even got it wrong because I had like it uses a heartbeat. Like the concept of you do a prompt and you get something is already, if with full access, inherently dangerous. But I was like, let's turn it up a notch. Let's automate that. Let's give it a heartbeat. And the prompt was literally surprise me.
Yeah. Wow.
That's very cool. But I see this project as much technology as it is like art and exploration, because this feels, in one way, it's just glue. It's just putting pieces together that we already have. In another way, it's a whole different way how you interact with those things, because all the technology blends away. You don't think about new session, compaction, which model. I mean, maybe a little bit because tokens are still expensive. But usually all of that blends away. You just talk to a friend or a ghost or whatever
it made me last year. Everyone was wanting these agentic experiences. You were having this experience, and it seemed like all the focus was on browsers. And seeing the way that people have been using, Moltbot, it's taking me a while to adapt. It just feels like all the focus was at the wrong layer. It's like, why do I care about the browser if I can just talk with an agent?
Across every app.
Yeah. Across every app, every surface. Everything. It's like I don't care about the browser at all anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the prep work I did before I built this was just build little CLIs. Because my premise is MCPs are crap. Doesn't really scale. People build like all kinds of weird search things around it. But you know what scales? CLIs. Agents know Unix. You can have like 1,000 little programs on your computer. They just have to know the name. They call the help menu. They load in what's needed. We are calling the help menu. Then they know how to use it, and then they can use it. And if you are smart, you build it in a way that just uses what the model already expects. Don't build it for humans. Build it for models. So if they call ---- log, you build ---- log. So it's like agentic driven for build how they think, and everything works better. It's a new kind of software in a way.
Yeah.
So for most of the things, I don't need a browser. Like I built something for the whole Google thing, for places, for my Sonos. I hooked up my cameras, my home automation system, and like with every little CLI and skill, my agent got more power and it got more fun.
Yeah.
And I already had a lot of that working when I built the WhatsApp thing, and I just got hooked. And the thing was, I found it amazing, and I talked about it on Twitter. And usually when I talk about projects, I get response. But this one, it was very muted. It felt like people are not getting it. I showed it to my friends, even my non-tech friends, and they're like, they wanted it. So I was like, I was up to something, you know. But the tech people wouldn't get it. So I tried a bunch of things. Like I kept working on it because I used it, and ultimately I built it for me. You know, this is open source. My motivation is have fun, inspire people, not make a whole bunch of money. I already have a whole bunch of money.
How have you been navigating the last 72 hours? I mean, the last week, really, because we were joking earlier on the show, like the amount of people that are frantically trying to give you money, acquire the company,
hire you,
contribute to the project, hire you.
Intense.
There's companies with 0.01% of the traction that are raising at multi-billion-dollar valuations. You have infinite opportunities right now, and yet you seem very happy continuing to do exactly what you're doing. But how are you thinking through it all?
I mean, how am I taking it? Badly, at least sleep-wise. But it's also infinitely exciting, and I love that I started something. You know, I would say last year was the year of the coding agent. This year is the year of the personal assistant. And I think I cracked and woke up people that there's a real need for it. Yeah. I don't know if Moltbot is the answer. It should show people the way. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of products in the space. I'm sure people are manically working on it right now. I would say it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, but there was a lot of stuff between Twitter literally exploding, our Discord server multiplying in ways I haven't seen before, and in ways I couldn't handle. Like at some point, I was just copy pasting questions from Discord into Codex. Then I had the response, wrote the next question. At some point, that didn't scale anymore, so I just like copied the whole channel. I'm like, answer the 20 most questions. I was like reading over it, gave him a few instructions, and then just pushed it over. Because what people don't realize, it's like, this is not a company. This is like one dude sitting at home having fun.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I guess from the commits, it might appear that it's a company.
Yeah.
That's just because agentic models got so good that you can now ship as much as a company could a year ago.
Yeah.
If you can handle those tools, if you speak the language or like understand how the language thinks, you can go really fast.
Yeah.
How are the conversations going with different labs? I was saying earlier, it's this kind of exciting moment for the labs because they're like, wow, people are using the someone's using the intelligence that I created in a new way, but at the same time, it's deeply uncomfortable because they're also using all of my competitors, and you make it very easy to kind of use whatever model.
My premise for this project was a little bit that every model should work, including local models, because to me, it's a playground. It's an amazing way to learn. Like, I think everybody should like build an agentic loop. You should like explore memory. There's like so many interesting aspects of it. And I built it so that like it has like plugins, so like people can work on their own little thing without having to like mess with the whole core. So it's like the AI hacker's paradise a little bit. And it's also super fun because it's personal. Model-wise, Opus is with quite a bit lead the best. OpenAI is very reliable. I would even say more reliable worker. Like for coding, I much prefer Codex because it can navigate large code bases. You can literally prompt and then push to main, and I have like 95% certainty that it actually works. Oh. With Cloud Code, you need more tricks to get the same. You need more charade, I sometimes say. Both are good, but I can parallelize faster by Codex because it requires less handholding. But character-wise, I tell you, I don't know what they trained their model on, how much of Reddit is in there or whatever, but it behaves so good in a Discord. Like we programmed it so it kind of feels like a human. It doesn't reply to every message. I gave it this thing where it can reply, no reply, basically like a token, and then we just don't send a message. So it's not like it spams with every message. It's like it listens to the conversation and then sometimes brings a banger. And like that actually make me laugh. And it's kind of hard because the jokes of AIs are usually really bad.
Yeah.
And I only really experienced that with Opus. So that's my favorite model. That's also why it's a little bit of a banger that I got an email from Anthropic that I had to rename the project. And I mean, kudos, they were really nice. They didn't send their lawyers, they sent someone internally, but the timeline was a bit rough. And like renaming a project with that much traction, it was a bit of a shit show. I think everything that could have gone wrong today went wrong.
Oh no!
I tell you.
Yeah. Like, I mean, for what it's worth, I think the new name works really well.
I guess the thing that's actually good, I think in the long run it'll be good.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's good for Anthropic. It's kind of untenable to have this massive viral, even though it's not a company, right? An open source project, have this viral kind of brand out in the world that it doesn't matter if it's spelled differently, but when people are running around talking about Clawdbot or Claude, there's obvious confusion. But I think it'll be very good for Moltbot to have independence and have its own brand, and I think it's so early and the experience is so magical that it'll solve itself very quickly.
It'll be fine. But I tell you, like I got some additional pressure, so I was like, screw it, we do it now.
Yeah.
Like the meme, we do it live. so I had two windows open with Twitter. On the one, I pressed rename. On the other one, I finished creating the other account. Was already snapped by crypto shells.
Wow.
I don't know. They have scripts. They were already waiting for it.
You should have hit us up. We would have connected you to X, the team. They can do it on the back end.
You can do it on the back
next time. Hopefully, next time.
They were amazing. They helped me out immediately. We got it solved very quickly. But for like 20 minutes, that didn't work out so well.
Hopefully,
you're like if I wanted money, I would raise $1 billion right now. I'd sell it for more than that.
Yeah. Do you own a Mac Mini? Everyone wants to know. Do you own a Mac Mini? What do you think of Mac Minis?
My agent is a little bit of a princess. He doesn't do Mac Minis, just Mac Studios.
Oh, okay. He wants some horsepower.
He got the 512 maxed out everything thing because I wanted to mess around with local models as well.
Sure.
So I can run Minimax 2.1, which is I would say is the best open source model right now. Although Kimi just came out and I haven't had a chance to try it yet, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But one machine is not enough for it. It's not fun. You probably need 2 or 3, and I kind of want to wait until Apple does a new release. But it's still fun to see the potential that there is a future where this could actually work.
Yeah.
Well, if the Mac Mini trend keeps going, Apple, from what we've seen, sells between $250,000 to $700,000 a year.
Yeah.
it's very possible that you'll be responsible for selling them out. So hopefully they send you some free ones as a thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, zooming out, how much of this do you think is going to remain hacker culture, running your own hardware, and eventually people will move to cloud hosting, one-click deployments, like just easier to use, less technical, versus like a real boom in running hardware? Because if you don't, there's not a lot of ways to get these different services to play nicely together. I think one of the beauties beyond just the actual AI agents is the fact that for the first time, I think people are seeing different big tech platforms kind of play with each other, somewhat against their will. They don't. They build walled gardens for a reason, and you sort of chop those walls down. And I'm wondering what you think about the future of like self-hosting hardware. Even going down the less technical crew, getting hardware running their own agents.
I don't think the future will be that everybody buys a Mac Mini just for that,
Yeah.
But I certainly see the demand for the old models have to change. Like when you are a company, you want to access Gmail, the amount of red tape is so large that startups buy other startups that have the license for Gmail, because going through the process yourself is a huge pitta.
Sure.
But if you run it locally, you work around all of that, right? Like I built plenty CLIs where I literally pointed codecs at the website and say, build me a CLI.
Yeah.
And then, which is sometimes against the term, sometimes not. Honestly, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And then codecs would say, no, I can't do that. This is like against blah, blah, blah. And I would like tell him a story. It's like, no, I actually work at this company. And I need to surprise my boss, and the backend team doesn't know. And like, give it a little bit of a story, like they're so gullible, and the code is like 40 minutes, and like gives you the perfect API. So this is a little bit the liberation of data that big tech probably doesn't really want. I mean, even the WhatsApp integration is a hack. This is like it fakes the protocol that the desktop app uses. I really tried to support the official way, but the official way is for businesses. If I'm a business that sends you 100 messages, I get blocked. So I got blocked immediately, and at some point I removed support for it in rage. It's like delete everything. It's like 100 exclamation marks. There's just no model for that right now, and I think that needs to change.
Yeah.
Like what I saw, what was really interesting with how people use it is a lot of apps will just melt away. Why do I still need MyFitnessPal? I just make a picture of my food. My agent already knows I'm at McDonald's making bad decisions. So like with combined information, it has a perfect match and knows exactly what I'm gonna eat. And then probably like change my fitness program. So I don't need the fitness app. It'll just like adapt my program and make sure like I still meet my goals. So like there's a whole big layer of apps that I'm gonna see disappear because you just naturally interact differently with those things. Like most apps will be reduced to API, and then the question is, do you still even need the API if I can just save it somewhere else?
Yeah. Do you think do you think it'll be a generational thing? Do you think that non-technical people will, get over the hump and start running this for that experience specifically?
I just came from a meetup, the Agent Anonymous from Indiana, and I met someone who was like a design agency, but they never coded. And he was like, he discovered me early in December. He started using Moltbot.
Yes.
We're gonna manage eventually.
Don't worry, we'll say it thousands of times this year, I'm sure. So
we will.
Multibot. I should say Multibot. That's cute.
Yeah.
And he was like, we have 25 web services now. We just build internal tools for whatever we need. And like has no clue. He has no clue how coding works. He just like uses Telegram and like just talks to his agent, and his agent builds stuff. So there's this whole shift of you don't subscribe to random startups anymore that build like this common subset of what you need. You just have your own hyper-personalized software that solves exactly your problem, and it's also free.
Yeah.
So and non-technical people do that, because it just comes so naturally. You just talk your problem, and then the thing builds what you need. And you also don't forget, like, this is the worst that the models ever are. Like, this is only going to go up. This is only going to become easier and faster.
Mm-hmm.
Have you met Jensen yet? Because I feel like you're making his life. You're definitely helping out
This is
NVIDIA
an
too.
extreme bull case, right?
It's like if I would have had my tinfoil hat on, I might say you're an big AI industry plant designed to create more inference demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I am. Just not on the
No, we were joking around. Just an indie.
What's
hacker.
next?
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
next?
yeah, where-
I'm assuming you hopefully get after you finish firing off prompts at 3 a.m. You get some sleep. What are you doing tomorrow?
There's a lot of emails from security researchers right now.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, I built this for fun, for me to use one-on-one on WhatsApp or Telegram. The whole thing with Discord was like added, but the model was that you trust the people that are in there. Now people use it for untrusted experiences.
Yeah.
They use like the little web app that I have that was meant for debugging. They put it on the open internet. So like all the threat models that I didn't care about are now there because people use it differently, and I'm being bombarded. There's like some stuff that's valid, some stuff that I just never cared about that is technically valid, but that's not how I use it. I don't know how to deal with that yet because the whole system is broken, Like I'm like one guy, I do this for fun, and you expect me to sift through 100 security things for use cases that I don't really care about. So we'll see how that goes. Luckily, I'm starting to build up a team. There's definitely people that do care a lot about this. So I would say this is going to become a very secure product eventually, because right now the whole world is like pulling it apart. And if you're honest, this is all byte coded, Like there's quite some agentic engineering in it, but ultimately I wanted to build something to show people anyway, not a finished product from enterprise company. And I would even say, like, I don't know if any company would touch it because we just haven't solved some things. Like prompt injection is not solved.
Yeah.
There is absolute risk, and I try to make it very clear in on the website. And even when you start it, you have to like, please read this document. There's like with great power becomes great responsibility. And to my early users, they understood. There's a lot of AI researchers in there as well that. Yeah, it's not perfect, cannot be done perfect yet. I would say this will accelerate research to make it better, because now you have the demand, and we need to figure out a way how we can build something that works for everyone. But yeah, right now I'm working on making this a community. It should be bigger than me. Also, I need help. It is way too much work. Like I can only go so much without sleep.
So as any part of you want to form an actual company that then contributes to the open source project, but solves some of these problems that are going to require a bunch of people that presumably would need a salary in order to commit all their time to this, or do you want to keep it just a bunch of hackers forever?
I think instead of a company, I would much rather consider a foundation or like something that is non-profit. I haven't made up my mind yet. There's
10,000 VCs just punched a hole in the wall. Actually, I don't know. Some people have had a good track record investing in nonprofits over the last 10 years. So.
How do you think about open source licensing? What are you picking now? Are you switching? Do you have any plans to change the license? How do you think about someone just taking this and selling it?
This will happen. This will totally happen. I would say the premise against it is let's make open source so good that there's not a lot of space for people to like convert it and make it their own thing.
Sure.
But ultimately it's a trade-off. I wanted it to be accessible and free. You pick MIT or something like that. Yes, that will get you people that sell it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it doesn't even matter that much. Code is not worth that much anymore. It's you could just delete that and then build it again in a month. It's much more the idea and the eyeballs and maybe the brand that actually has value. So let them.
You are already a cult hero.
Yeah, the chat's going crazy for you. Everyone loves you.
This is one of the most refreshing and unique interviews we've ever had on the show.
For sure. We'll let you get some sleep. Thank you so much for hopping on the show.
Yeah, anything else you want to share before you jump off?
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to have maintainers. Like if you love open source, if you have experience, if you love sifting through security reports, or if you love taking software apart, but then also help and not just like throw work at me because I'm like at my limit, email me. I want this to outlive me. I think this is too cool to let it go to rot, and it needs good people.
Yeah.
Incredible. Are you going to ship that product you had in the chamber? You said there was one you were close. Or are you going to lock in on this?
That's more a hobby. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I have some other ideas in my head of what something like this could become, and it doesn't need to be this. But I don't want to share too much.
Yeah, no problem. Come back on the show when you launch that. We'd love to have you.
Purely for the love of the game.
The love of the game.
You're an absolute legend. It was great hanging, Peter.
Thanks so much.
Get some sleep.
Get some sleep. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Founder mode.
What a legend.
Yeah. True overnight success in both ways, I
Really?
like actually an overnight success in terms of that GitHub star chart, and then also an overnight success in just grinding for years, building projects and contributing, and then setting the product up, the brand right, everything just perfect to really capitalize on the moment.
There were so many. I normally we're podcasting so much. Don't have a ton of time to re-listen to stuff. But there were so many kind of interesting points of view that he shared that I'll certainly.
I'm
be circling back
super
on
interested to see where this goes. A lot of people are saying get this guy $1 billion. A lot of people are saying he's going to wind up working.
The whole thing is I don't think he needs it.
Yeah.
Like the beauty of this is that it was not something magical that was created by spending burning $1 billion.
The other interesting thing is do you remember the George Hotz Tiny Box project? Like George Hotz sort of.
Oh, he should team up with George Hotz.
Yeah, I mean George Hotz sort of predicted this in the sense that he was like, you will want your own AI running locally, sort of the Mac Mini style, but it was racked a number of NVIDIA graphics cards so you could run certain models locally. And he had this vision for you're going to talk to this local model. It's going to interface with everything on your network, on your local network, in your life. And it feels like this is like two sides of the same project coming together. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of viral tiny box. If all of a sudden you go from, there's the Mac Mini can run this, but you get this better local model, the latest open source model. You get something a little bit more with more firepower. Yeah. And you can run it just with solar panels, like off the grid.
Well, yeah, this is generally what, not far from what Sim for Satoshi has been building with Truffle.
Oh, yeah.
The little glowing orb, right?
Yeah.
Personal compute. Well, we have been keeping our next guest waiting.
Yes, we have Aaron Frank from Lightspeed in the Ultra Dome. Aaron, I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. Thank you so much.
Tough act to follow.
How you doing? Grab a seat. I'm 6'8".
You too? This is fantastic.
Yes.
Welcome to the Ultradome.
Welcome to the Ultradome. First time in the Ultradome.
Did you get to listen to some of that?
It's actually like a hard act to follow.
No,
it's a weird one.
It's like the most viral product that anyone has seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
First interview. One of the most unique. People don't typically build a viral product and then talk about, what do you say, hookers and blackjack, something like that. His words, not mine.
In the chat.
Anyways, very, very unique. How are you doing, though?
I'm doing great. Flying into town, headed up to Santa Barbara. LA is beautiful. I always forget that.
It is.
It's a nice place to live. It's not the best city, but it's a great
You're
place
getting
to
in trouble
live.
again saying that. Why does he live in LA if he doesn't think it's the best city? Anyway, sorry. First time on in the Ultradome. Please introduce yourself for everyone.
Aaron Frank. I'm a former founder, so I'm getting old now. So a decade ago, I started a company. We built the full stack credit card company.
Okay.
Sold it to Goldman Sachs. It became what is now the Apple Card. Obviously, any project, thousands of people.
What was it called when you launched it?
It was called Final.
Okay.
So did a lot in financial services. Helped Goldman kind of launch that product and bring it live for my years there. And then it's been 6 years. I've switched sides. So it's how I met Jordy originally. Did a lot of angel investing and advising and just giving away free time to give back to the community. And then I've now been at Lightspeed for almost 2.5 years, 3 years going.
Yeah, when we first met, you were just like, it was on Zoom, COVID. You were in like a log. It literally was like, was it a log cabin?
Oh yeah. I mean, me and my wife and my
almost off the grid.
Yeah, we drove around the country during COVID. So that I quit Goldman during COVID. Just there's better things in life than working for an investment bank.
Disagree, but to each their own. You switched teams. Now you're a venture capitalist. What have you been focusing on? What's interesting? Take me through like stage, scale, the type of founders you like to work with, the markets. Everything.
Okay. Let's just jump right into something that I'm curious to get your thoughts on. So specifically, like a category that I'm going to guess you're spending a lot of time on. So with Moltbot, Clawdbot, you now have there's a world where the level of intensity that software engineers have been using coding agents, you start to get everyday people that are now like firing off prompts all the time to like do things more than just like a Google search or a deep research report. And presumably like that's going to involve like money, I imagine. And so I feel like people have had different theses around maybe stablecoins play a part of this somehow. I haven't seen the most clear explanation for that yet. Maybe there's other new payment rails. Maybe Stripe just dominates.
Agentic commerce is a weird thing, right? Like we actually don't have the payment rails to enable agents to proliferate. We've funded some people doing that, building kind of L1s to essentially provide that next rail. But the reality is the biggest distribution networks are Visa, MasterCard on the merchant side, and they don't have really a cost structure they have a cost structure that can support it. They just don't have a market force that forces them there. Stripe and Tempo Tempo's not live yet, but supporting kind of a new network there. Ultimately, stablecoins may be the path there for at least how we transfer value, but it's also just kind of a store of value right now. Agentic commerce is just an inning one because we also just don't have a use case. The joke I make is I haven't actually been able to buy anything with an agent. And the news this week was what Shopify is tacking on 4% on top of transaction, which
they're sending it to OpenAI, but
but like that's untenable for a merchant, right?
Some merchants. I mean, there's plenty
for dropshippers. It's fine, but for any
there are plenty of merchants that have 20% coupon codes in every podcast.
That's true, but that's a very small portion. If you think about like Walmart literally doesn't take Apple Pay because it doesn't want to pay the 15 extra or whatever it is basis points.
Very good point.
So like when you get to large trillions of dollars of commerce, agentic payments have to actually be more efficient for the system to be adopted. Otherwise, we're just going back to card.
Because you need to lift in actual consumer behavior. Consumption needs to increase to offset that 4%.
Correct. E-commerce needs either basket size to increase or checkout conversion increase. And like agents,
I was worried about a situation where somebody discovers a product on Instagram via an ad that a brand paid for, and then they just go into ChatGPT or another model and say like, order this for me, and then it's like, and just an incremental 4%, you already paid to acquire the customer effectively. And depending on how great this integration is, it might be that consumers just start to prefer that.
It's an evolving field. There's a whole other thing is how do you trust an agent if I'm Lululemon and they just show up? like, I don't know whose agent this is. I don't know if it's personal or it's a business. And so we don't actually have a layer in the internet today that says you can trust this agent. It's not fraud, which if you think about how an e-commerce checkout store works today, they have multiple, consumer puts in a card, there's multiple layers of fraud checks that happen. And so when an agent shows up from the same IP for 50 times in the same day, you have no idea what that consumer is. And then you lose all the downstream tracking that you do on a consumer per transaction.
Yeah. I mean,
so it breaks the entire model of the internet.
Yeah. I was sort of cautiously optimistic that agentic commerce would roll out before Black Friday, towards the end of last year. That didn't really happen. I mean, I've had the same experience as you. I don't think I've purchased anything agentically yet.
I've tried to buy flights, and even search is bad for it. We just need to build more and more protocols.
I think the current use case or like that would just be like you're trying to buy a single product and not a complex cart, just something simple, and I think it can get across the finish line. But again, I haven't actually been moved to do that, and I'm wondering where GMV on agentic platforms will land at the end of this year. It feels like there's going to be a massive push. All the integrations are happening, all the deals are happening. Like you can see the UI is adapting to it. I think OpenAI already has my credit card in ChatGPT. They should be able to do this, but I'm wondering consumer behavior, awareness, education. There's a lot in there. There's an images tab. There's a deep research tab. There's just a lot that could put a slowdown on the rollout there.
Yeah, there's an old saying in payments is that everything happens over a 10-year time horizon. AI clearly is shifting that shorter, but until it's actually saving you time and you trust that they're getting you a discount, they're getting you the most efficient price or something like that. Consumer behavior is fundamentally the hardest thing to change.
Totally.
So it will exist. I'm sure there are people buying stuff. I'm sure I will get slammed for saying who's done an agentic transaction, but the reality is
people are out there giving their Moltbots.
The classic thing last year was just let me order. Just let me order a flight. And I think we're now getting
close.
But
we're close.
And we've had agentic commerce. There were when we were running Final, we had a ton of people using the product for sneaker bots.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a bot. Agentic commerce is bots by another name.
Yeah, I guess that is agentic commerce technically.
But it's just you now have this layer of intelligence that an LLM gives you, so it can do complex coordination and complex tasks.
I had an auction sniper in 2004 on eBay.
Click
the button right before the auction ends.
They still exist.
And
there's a ton of volume flow, but you know what? It still runs over the card rails because it's the lowest common denominator.
Yep, that makes sense. Interesting. So is one of the strongest bull cases for stablecoins still just lower transaction fees? And
no, not at all. No, there's no domestic. Oh man, I'm gonna get slammed for this.
So it doesn't seem like any of the players that have the ability to get institutional adoption of stablecoins have any incentive to be it's going to be 0.01% fees. Why would you maybe want to be competitive, but there's no incentive to make it zero or close to zero.
You would do zero so you get the other side of the equation. If you think about a store of value, if you look at a dollar, I give you $1, it's worth $1. There's no risk transfer there at all. And that's actually what we want in payments. And it's actually why Visa, MasterCard are the largest factoring networks in the world. When you swipe at Starbucks, they don't get $1, they get 97.5 cents on the dollar because that is the risk that they were taking in taking your dollar. Stablecoins, you would give it away for free. One, because ultimately Visa, MasterCard, we're going way deep in payments, but are actually data networks. They actually don't transfer money. The money is transferred via settlement layer at Fedwire. And so when you think about it, how would you do with stablecoins? Well, it's still just a data layer, and you actually just want to hold on to as much treasuries as possible and make the yield from that. And so how would you aggregate volume? Well, you give away the transfer for free. Because data, in theory, if you look at a bunch of network effect things, as data goes up to the right, the cost of that data should come down to the right. And so you would just want as much volume over your network to win. And that's why you have things like Tempo launching. You have the other kind of L1s launching to try to aggregate all that data, while you also have the incumbents who have a lot of money and a lot of market force to be able to try out new things to try to capture that volume back.
Are we ever going to stop launching new L1s?
There'll be new use cases. You can launch them. Whether you get adoption is a different question.
Sure.
Right? We backed one called Radius Technology, building a really interesting technology as an L1. It enables transaction volumes, I think, Bobby would say in the millions.
Yeah.
They came out of the Fed, kind of the central bank digital currency project that died. They turned Project Hamilton into this company.
Okay.
And in doing so, yeah, if you want to do agentic commerce, you're going to be talking about millions of transactions a second.
Yeah.
And you can't do that over existing rails in a way that doesn't also break a bunch of other kind of primitives. So yeah, we'll keep on launching L1s. What I was saying about stablecoins is stablecoin is just kind of a quasi-bank account, right? We finally have true programmatic money. Behind the scenes, there's a lot that happens to on-ramp and off-ramp, but what it enables is us to truly take what is the U.S.'s biggest export, which is the U.S. dollar by far, and export it globally without any barriers. So if I'm any other country, friendly or not, my citizens can now get access to the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
And that is the demonstrable use case of stablecoins. Everything is else downstream of that.
Yeah.
Like Venezuela is a great example right now. Like, do you trust your central currency? Who is your no, you don't even trust the central bank. So I'd rather hold on to U.S. dollars, which
we were talking with Joe, the co-founder of Ethereum, yesterday, just saying like interesting dynamic right now where Americans, if you've had access to the U.S. dollar your whole life and the benefits of it, you're like, I want silver and gold and all these other assets, but then elsewhere in the world, you have people that are like, finally, I can have something that, sure, it's inflating, but it's not inflating 40 to 60% a month.
Yeah, I mean, that's why an independent Fed or is important because this is the global currency. If you think about all the sci-fi we've all watched growing up, they had a concept of credits. They had some intergalactic currency. How do we get, where we are today, how do we get to credit system, right?
Yeah.
And the answer is probably something stablecoin-esque, some crypto-esque coin that is tied to something that money is just a trust system at the end of the day, so something that we trust across counterparties. And so, this is the biggest shift in my generation. I'm not that old. At least I don't feel that. That we might finally globalize the world.
You're Unk.
Yeah.
There's one layer above, which is Elder.
Okay.
No, 2 layers above. It goes Unk, then OG, then Elder.
Oh, got it.
Okay.
Got it. Okay, so you're spring chicken.
Yeah, that's great.
There you go.
What does winning this year look like at Lightspeed in your role? You're obviously focused on.
Let's talk about venture is just like expensive emails that we all write to each other in venture, and then every once in a while we convince a founder.
I know, but is there this can be a tough one to answer, but is there a company that you feel like is uniquely enabled now that you haven't pitched yet?
Oh no,
Does everything get kind of pitched in some way or another?
No, I think there's many ways. I've been on this side for two years. At the core, I still think like a founder, and I had kind of forgotten what it was, and then we launched me and a friend run a stablecoin conference every year, and I was like, oh, this is what it's like to start something from scratch and build something and
Nick?
No.
He also
he runs StableCon. No, it's called a very stable conference. So me and I
right.
We're 6 weeks out in March in SF. But no, there's many ways to do this, and at the end of the day, when I've really boiled it down, venture is a people business. You're betting on people, especially as early as you can go, and then you let them go cook. You give them money and let them cook is my real mantra. So there's not people that I feel like I've ever missed on deals, or people oh, I can't get an intro to, because there's also this style in venture of you actually want to have to talk to this person, right? I had a 3-hour board meeting and I need to debrief with the founder, and that's another 2 hours potentially, and I'm happy to do it. And if we have that vibe that works, what?
It's basically your whole day that you got to.
Yeah, but if I have that vibe where I'm more than happy to pick up the phone at 9 p.m. and just talk to them until 11. That's the type of founder I want to work with. At least that's how I think venture should be. Yeah. There's other ways. There's people who just do massive prospecting. But as I've kind of looked at it, life's short. There's lots of ways to make money, and find the people who are going to leave a dent in the world. So if you're, I'm not apologetic for being a weird human underneath. But if I find other weird humans who I vibe with and who want to do something interesting in the world, then it's usually kind of a very good match made in heaven.
Yeah. What do the various constituents coming to your conference in 6 weeks?
Yeah.
How do they want do they want yield on stablecoins? I'm guessing they do. How are they all feeling about kind of the current regulation that, and maybe give us an update because I know it's kind of
and there's a bunch of market structure stuff that is like actively happening, so I don't have the latest on that, to be honest. Last year it was in February 12th. It was the month before the Genius Act passed, so we actually had Governor Waller speak at the conference and give a public speech, and we actually had to live stream it because he's a public official and a governor can move the markets.
Interesting.
We're working on a few other kind of high-name people that haven't been announced yet. Really, the whole premise of the conference, and it's really funny. So I had a kid 2 years ago now. Thank you. But so I was walking around in July with my kid strapped to my chest at 6 a.m. and called Io, my coordinator. Yeah, as one does, as you have a young baby and you're trying to like get your steps in. And I said, we're talking about stable coins and how it's changing the world. And we're like, somebody should host a conference. And then we both stopped and we're like, oh, shit. We have to host a conference. Like, how do you get, really the whole premise is, how do you get all of the right people? Not like, I don't need 25 people from every single company. I need the 2 or 3 right people at every company. Ideally, it's the founder, but like sometimes, if you're a massive company, it's somebody lower level, and put them all in the same room, make the content interesting, and make the networking good. And like, I have a big belief in serendipity and doing interesting things in the world, and so it's how do we create serendipity? I know of at least 1 or 2 deals. Well, we did a few deals. Besides Lightspeed, who was a sponsor last year and sponsoring again this year, I know of 2 deals that happened as a result of like a founder showing up at the conference, meeting another top-tier VC, and they did a deal together in stablecoins. So like our goal is not to like dominate the conference; it's bring the people together and get this thing like and keep the industry moving forward. That's great.
What's your take on the proliferation of stablecoins? Specifically, there's like I saw a couple states talking about launching them, and that feels like. I might have it wrong, but it feels intuitively like a step away from the universal credit system.
Yeah.
But maybe they're all credits.
Well,
but it's like slightly different credits, wrappers around credits.
Yeah, well, it's a question of there's a question me and my friends have talked about, which is like, at what point does a central bank of let's just choose a random country, Colombia, change their interest rate and nothing happens? Like how much of their citizenry needs to be moved to US dollar? How much of their GDP needs to be in US dollar for the central bank to no longer be relevant? So this is them fighting back against I can no longer stop my citizens. Like they can hold Bitcoin, but now they can actually hold dollars, which are like not volatile. It's actually historically a better store of value. So we've seen CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. They certainly will provide efficiency in those countries and the domestic markets when they run. Long term, how will they work out? It's like I don't even think about it because it's just we're seeing this macro trend of dollars taking off. I mean, literally today, Tether launched their U.S. compliant stuff. So like, and Tether is the largest by far, and it wouldn't surprise me if they very aggressively shift a lot of money from USDT to USDT. I think it's A because it's Anchorage, just to show that there's massive compliant volume, and the world's just going to pick up. Like we're at $300 billion of stablecoins, I think today. It was $200 billion last year, roughly. The number just keep going up.
Number go up.
Number go up.
Here, let's hear some
our greatest export.
Our greatest export.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Well, I'm excited for the event.
Yeah, thank you. You guys are welcome.
Yeah, what day is it?
March 5th at Terra Gallery. It's invite only, so like apply at verystableconference.com.
Hit them up.
A great name.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for coming down to the TBPN Ultra Dome. Great to have you.
Close out the show with us.
Close out the show with us. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
We'll be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. sharp. Leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Sign up for the TBPN newsletter at tbpn.com and have a great rest of your day.
We love you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.